tell it where we've been. And all I know is that if you can't find me, you may never want to find me again. 'Cause people don't understand. People don't understand. People like me.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? We are here. It is Tuesday night, and we are back for episode 23 of the Barroom Podcast. And I'm glad to join my lovely guests here, our good fashion regulars, and of course, we have a few other people here who have joined us without saying anything. Johnson. But before we get started here, let's go ahead and start with our regular cast. I think Cassie and Rob, I'm not sure which one of you guys have the lead right now as far as the most appearances on the show. I think you might actually be tied. I think you've both missed one show each. So you guys are going to have to pull knives out and figure out who's the MVP of this show. So how you guys doing today?
Everything is good. Just been playing old Call of Duty because new Call of Duty sucks balls. So yeah,
that's what I've heard. It's not great. Like I don't know how they gamed you on that on once again by re-releasing the same game over again. But yeah,
I buy it like bi-yearly, so I skipped the previous one. So I was like, buy this one this time around, since I know a lot of people that were also going to be playing it, but it's fucking insufferable. So
I honestly feel at this point they just put money into like the gameplay trailer, another gameplay trailer, just kind of like the cinematic trailer. It'd be like, oh, this would be enough for people to buy them, and then you just get like a fucking broken game, Battlefield.
Yeah, honestly, it's like to the point where these devs, it just feels like they hate their player base, and every year it's just, how can we sneakily make this game worse on purpose?
Yeah, it's a shit show. And then also joining us from Washington, desperately waiting the results of his election, is Mr. Rob Motto. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. I voted. Oh wait, it's over here. Yeah, I voted. So I did that.
I did the thing.
Yeah, my state is completely mail-in. Like it's 70% mail-in state.
Yeah.
You guys are screwed.
But I just like voting in person because fuck that. I just and plus after the the 2020 election, I didn't exactly trust the mail-in system either. So
yeah,
good on you.
And then somewhere from upstate New York is our good buddy Orange Hat. How you doing?
Doing good. And you know what? November the 5th kind of passed, and we all didn't have a nice stream, but I really should remind everybody of a good, nice, awesome quote from entertainment. People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Government should be afraid of their people. But
that's the way our country was founded.
Exactly, and I'm just eagerly awaiting the results of our gubernatorial. Plus, our Senate, we have a Senate seat up for grabs. Hopefully, people vote on that one too, because I did vote. My sticker kind of fell off. I was outside doing a lot of work.
I think my sticker is still like in my wallet somewhere. I don't think I ever took it out.
I should have put it on my wallet instead of putting it on my shirt. But yeah, I went in, surprised the heck out of the voting people there because I took my registration out and my ID out, had it all read, and they're like, people don't do that anymore. I'm like, no, maybe they should because it's kind of required. But yeah.
Yeah, and somewhere in the middle of nowhere, California, is our good buddy Nerdigans. I'm asking, did you take your cat out and risk severe sunburn to go vote earlier today, or did you?
It's been raining here, actually.
Oh, no, you don't tell me you're one of those Californians where it just rains and like all of a sudden your plans are just done.
Well, it's been raining here for like the past couple of days, actually, where I've been at. But luckily, my there's a ballot box like down the street from me, so I can just walk over there and put it in. I told you guys, things were changing around here, and you laughed at me.
Yeah, well, we won't laugh, at least not this time around. Yeah, okay. I was going to say I thought something weird happened on your end, and I was like, oh no, that was you. But yeah, so look, as we all know, the midterms are going on right now, and there's a lot of key races happening at the moment. First of all, let me just give a shout out to the chat before I even get into this rant. I almost forgot about you guys, and you can blame this person for making me immediately annoyed with the chat. Our good buddy Spencer, who is in there right now, and I just gave him a quick little answer there. And then Alex versus Evil. I know you were in Orlando, but I don't think we had a chance to meet while we were out there. But hopefully, I get to see you again sometime soon. And then our good buddy Johnson, who's having some technical issues right now. She will be joining us back here momentarily. Neo, who's in the chat once again. Yo, what's up, everybody? And of course, Cage is in the chat. And then always in the chat is our good buddy Duke Nukem, who is already throwing shit at Jimmy Kimmel. We haven't even gotten to that portion of the show yet. So give it time. We'll get there. Good buddy Stephen Brown, who's Rick Caruso. We'll definitely talk about him as well. Neil also wants a battle to the death between Cassie and Rob, so hopefully we can arrange that sometime soon.
Settle it in Mortal Kombat.
Yep. Mail-in ballots absolutely suck. Yeah, you can already tell what the narrative is on CNN right now, that they're not great. Let's just put it that way, right? What else is going on?
With mail-in ballots is that, like, technically post office people are in line for the presidency, so they shouldn't be handling the ballots because you're not supposed to handle the ballots where you might actually end up as president.
Yeah, it's not great. As some people say, it's simply not great.
She just pointed out a loophole. Damn.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but no one else in our society will point that out, though, because they know they're just too dumb. But we're here right now, and we're talking about the midterm elections. Now, a lot of these elections are the polls haven't even technically closed yet. I think California's doesn't close for like another hour, so there's still a lot going on at the moment. Here on the East Coast, we're starting to get some results. I think Florida is pretty much swept entirely red, so I don't think Democrats have stood a chance in the state of Florida right now. In Georgia, it looks like Stacey Abrams probably is going to lose, and I say probably because you never know when the 4 a.m. mail-in ballots are going to happen, but it looks like she's trailing there right now. And then what's the other one? Walker is trailing at the moment right now as well. So the one that I'm paying attention to the most is really just the governor race in Georgia, because obviously I do not want Stacey Abrams running this state into the fucking ground. And then I'm also paying a little bit of attention to the Nevada race as well, because I think that one's going to be a good one to keep an eye on as far as the governor's race. But let's talk a little bit of politics here while we have a second. Is there any elections that you guys are personally looking forward to? I know Rob talked about it a little bit, so I know you're looking at your governor's race. So what do you keep an eye on tonight?
No, I'm not. It's not my governor's race. It's a neighboring state, Oregon, their governor's race, because they have a potential to go Republican for the first time in 40 years. So that's a big one. The legislature is actually pretty hotly contested too in Oregon. So it's a big night there. But at the end of the day, it's just like it's just going to depend on if enough people vote Republican. So. There's a lot of blue, it's a big blue state. It's a lot of liberals voting. So it just depends how much Portland sucks and it kind of stains the rest of the state.
Well, when Oregon actually, because I have friends that live in Oregon, it depends on Portland, Eugene, and Salem. Those three are the key. Yeah. And in Washington State, I've seen like reports that it's a very low voter turnout. So it's lower than usual. It's like 38% or something like that.
King County specifically, where Seattle is, and the biggest population center, is really low voter turnout, which is a good indicator for Tiffany Smiley. But I still have my doubts that she's going to win, but I voted for her. So.
Well, we got some new results in here as of 4 minutes ago. Omar and Ocasio-Cortez won their reelected seats. Mm-hmm. Not that they can get anything. Not that they're going to get anything passed, but
yeah. I mean, like I say, in those districts, it's not that big of a surprise that she won. I said I'm watching Shocker. I'm actually watching CNN's coverage right now, and the one thing about CNN's coverage that I will put over is that when they're actually just like focusing on the map and not doing like any of like the opinion bullshit, like as long as you don't let Van Jones or any of those chuckle fucks speak, the election coverage actually isn't bad. When they're just like going straight through like the numbers and the counties and whatnot. So that's one thing I will put them over for. I don't know if that's a new directive with Warner Brothers Discovery taking over during this election. It's like, hey, just stick to the fucking map and no bullshit this year. So maybe that has a little bit to do with it too. But yeah, for me, it's the two governors races I'm keeping my eye on. And then, I don't know, Orange Head, did you say there was one that you were looking at too? Was there one specifically?
Two, actually. The Senate seat against Schumer, which hopefully he will lose. And also Zeldin versus Hochul. If Hochul loses and Zeldin wins, it's going to be the first Republican senator in over 20 years. I mean, the last not senator, but governor in over 20 years in New York.
Pataki? I think Pataki was the last one.
He was the last one. And I actually met Pataki when I was 13 years old, back when governors actually came up to my area. And he thought I was part of the Boy Scouts people or tent at the festival in our town. And he just started shaking everybody's hand. I'm in fucking black suede leather and shit talking to my friend who was in the Boy Scouts. He's like, thank you for all that you do and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I had turned, I'm like, did we just shake hands with the governor? And he's like, I think we just did. But yeah, I watched the debates. It's not like I was on the fence on who to vote for, but as soon as Kathy Hochul literally looks at Zeldin and is like, I don't know why this is such a big issue for you when we're talking about crime. And I'm like, that alone should disqualify her from running.
And especially in New York, which is like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
I mean, the biggest, murder is down, but suicide or homicide by train has like risen like 600%.
Yeah. That's what happens when they don't want to just admit that crime is up. They always have to break those type of crimes into like subcategories that make it seem like, oh no, you see, murder by train is actually down when you compare the 30 years. Like people are being killed and attacked and stabbed and raped at rates that we haven't seen since the fucking Death Wish 3 age. So it's like they just can't come to that realization that, oh yeah, we made things significantly worse, and still vote for us anyway.
One time, some breaking news, actually. I got something very significant that just happened. Is Sarah Huckabee Sanders became the first female governor of Arkansas.
Yep. Nice. Yep. Yeah, like I said, we're going to get a whole bunch of big news as the show goes on. Like I said, Rob DeSantis won in Florida by a landslide. It wasn't even remotely close. So, I mean, he's just like the entire state of Florida. I mean, you have to look at it from this perspective. It's like the gay meth addict that he went up against 4 years ago almost won. Like it was a very close race when they went back, 2018? What was when that race happened? So the fact that people in Florida wised up to just how close they were to getting completely fucked, I think it's smartened a lot of people up to turn red entirely with that state. And then some other news here. I mean, to nobody's real surprise, Chuck Schumer wins his 5th term to become New York's longest-serving senator. I mean, like I said, when you're dealing with those type of legacy candidates, you can't really be surprised that they just keep winning their states over and over again.
That man needs to have a stroke.
Or a lot worse. And then this is the big one that I'm pretty sure we'll be talking about throughout the course of the night. Is that there's been a lot of fuckery going on in Arizona all day. Essentially, what's been happening is that at one point they were reporting about 20 to 25% of all election machines were down in Arizona, and especially Maricopa County. Now, if you guys don't know where Maricopa County is in Arizona, and Spencer can back this up, it's a very, very large county in Arizona, which is like Phoenix is in, Glendale is in, and historically it's been a pretty red county, right? So it's the largest one in Arizona, and now all of a sudden all these issues are coming up in that state where people are waiting in line. They're not letting people vote because the machines are down. They're complaining that there's just too many people, that they're not prepared for this, which is bullshit. Like, it's not like this election was like a surprise. This came together in the last few days. You guys have been training for months to get this fucking thing right, and you guys essentially fucked this whole thing up. Yes, it's basically the entire entire state. I mean, the only thing outside of Maricopa is like Yuma and like what fucking Tucson. That's pretty much it. So yeah, there's a close race going on as far as the governor goes in Arizona, and there's a lot of things, questionable happenings there. And now they're saying that the judge rules that the polls have to be closed at 7 p.m. in Arizona, saying that because of all the issues, they tried to move the deadline to 10 p.m., but the judge says no. So, like I said, there's a lot of questionable fortification happening in certain states at the moment. That's what we call You can't call it a stolen election anymore. You just have to say they fortified the election. So there's some fortification happening.
Also, did you guys hear about what happened earlier today in Pennsylvania? The Fetterman campaign started suing for, or in order to allow or incorrect ballots being allowed.
The date.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're not dated or whatever.
Yeah, wrong dates and other stuff, and it's like,
well, I heard I heard this earlier today that they're apparently trying to allow mail-in ballots to the 14th or like dated to the 14th in Pennsylvania, which is like, how is this shit even like being allowed? It's like you can't vote a week or two after the election and be like, oh no, our votes just came in, because that's what happens. You end up going to sleep with like a 450,000 vote lead, and all of a sudden, oh, you're down by 10,000. It's a miracle. We don't know how it could have possibly happened.
Bro, well, why do you think I'm just over democracy at this point? It's fucking broken entirely. I can't take it seriously anymore. Democracy was just a mistake, bro.
Yeah, by the way, like everyone's running with the tagline democracy tonight. Even Fox News is running with the tagline democracy. It's like, yeah, hopefully tonight is the night that democracy dies, because it's dumb and we're not a fucking democracy anyway. So
we're a constitutional republic.
We're not a democracy, but Massachusetts flipped, unfortunately. Maryland flipped. That's the one. Maryland flipped. And now Maryland has a black governor, and I think it's Massachusetts has a gay governor now. Yeah.
Great.
So it's like, oh, yay, representation for governors now. It's like, what?
It'd be a shame if Carrie Lake got robbed of this election, because she's one of the few people I actually kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's some fuck shit going on in Arizona right now, so they're trying to get everything they can from winning.
But you guys familiar? The last election, Arizona had fuck shit going on the last election too. I remember watching it in real time, and it was the same thing in Michigan. There was fuck shit going on there too.
Well, do you know that Katie Hobbs is the Secretary of State? She's running for governor, but it's like the difference between, or the lack of transparency or whatever and accountability for this candidate and this and their campaign is ridiculous. And so it's just like, if I don't know, basically if Carrie Lake doesn't win, there's going to be a lawsuit, and it's going to be in the news cycle again about election deniers and all this bullshit, when in fact, like, there are legitimate issues at the polls right now.
Yep. I mean, like I said, we all know that there's some dirty stuff going on, but you have all of these big wigs at big tech that don't want you to point it out. Like, even on this stream right now, if you're watching us on YouTube, they got the tag the 2020 U.S. elections on our page, because I put midterm elections in the title. So whenever you put something in the title, they always have to be like, well, actually, here's the real information before this person starts talking. Is that somehow you can't fucking read with your own two eyes? Don't
trust your lying eyes, folks.
Yep. Or as CNN said, hey, just stay off of social media for the day and only listen to us. Don't listen to anybody else when it comes to election results. We'll tell you what the truth is. Yeah, exactly. I don't even blame you there. But let's keep the topic here on politics here for a second, because I wanted to talk about this whole thing going on in L.A. Now, we do have a couple people in our chat who said that they voted in L.A. Joey Chaz right here, I'm going to try to find his comment, said that he voted for Caruso in Los Angeles. And that's kind of what we're going to start off talking about here, is because a lot of celebrities in L.A. have seemingly turned, or I wouldn't say completely turned, but they're moving slightly away from Democrats in the city city of LA. Now, if you guys haven't been paying attention, a lot of major cities in the last few years are in a massive state of decline, LA being one of them. Crime is kind of outrageous right now. The homeless population is getting completely out of control there. Rents are up, pricing is up, inflation is up, gas is like $8 a gallon out there. And by the way, if you have an empty gas tank right now, I suggest you go fill up your gas tank before tomorrow, because gas prices will go up right after this election is over. So you better enjoy the low gas prices now while you can, because they're going to skyrocket right back to where they were at the beginning of the year. But so yeah, there's been a lot of issues, and you've seen a lot of people, keep in mind, are not typically Republicans, but they're complaining about the fact that, hey, LA is literally going to shit. I'm watching this city decline in real time. But when you look at LA, there's really no one to blame but Democrats, because there's a city that's about 70% Democrat. There's no Republicans really in charge anywhere in the city that you can point and blame all your problems at. So it's like, okay, well, who's to blame here? Who's causing all of this shit happening? And you have this very awkward situation in LA where it's like, some of these people want to come out and say that, hey, these left-wing policies aren't helping our city, but they're in Hollywood, so they can't go full the other way. You can't be Team Republican out there. So what they're doing is that Rick Caruso, who is a billionaire who's running for mayor of Los Angeles, is supposedly a former Republican, now turned Democrat. So he's kind of being presented as the so-called moderate Democrat option, because we all know, like, a straight-up Republican is never going to win in California, because we all know how the percentages work out there. But actors like Chris Pratt, Katy Perry, Paris Hilton, I think Snoop Dogg, and a few others are now all of a sudden at the very last second saying, hey, let's vote for this guy to be our mayor so that our city can improve. So Caruso, who's running against Democrat Karen Bass in the midterms, his campaign has spent more than $100 million on his electoral bid. Chris Pratt, who, keep in mind, is a guy who hasn't really come out inside of any political race up to this point. He's tried to keep his politics silent as much as he could up now, even though you can kind of, gauge where he is, but he hasn't said it publicly. This time he came out on Instagram a couple days ago and said that, LA is going to shit. We need to support Rick. He says, I've lived in LA for 20 years. It's been great to me. In that time, I've seen what many residents here have seen, the city's gradual decline into pain and utter disarray. He says, if you live here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He goes on to say, I don't normally support political candidates, but in this election, there's too much to lose. If you're an LA voter, I urge you to vote for Rick. I just said the dude's name now. It could be funny. Caruso, sorry. And then he said he's a builder. He knows what he get the job done. He's our guy for the city. Vote for him for LA being mayor. Now, like I said, Chris Pratt isn't the only guy who's gone out and supported him. Obviously, Elon Musk, Maria Shriver. You see, there's a couple other people who I named earlier. And then this one is the one that got a few people upset, because out of all people, Katy Perry decided that she was also going to support Caruso as well. Katy Perry, who's a very well-known super Democrat. She stumped for Hillary Clinton in 2016. She's been at all these big meetups with Obama and all the major Democrats. Well, she posted a picture of herself in LA voting for Rick Caruso for mayor, in hopes that he'll clean up the city, in hopes that he'll, stop the homeless problem from growing. Maybe he'll be a little bit tougher on crime than some of the other people. But I think some of these guys are realizing that, hey, I live here and this place kind of sucks now more now than usual. So it's like, hey, can we get someone here to actually fix the problem? That's not a Republican, because we can't support Republicans publicly yet. And then there's been a few people going after Katy Perry because it's like, oh, he's been linked to like anti-abortion organizations, as if that's like the number one problem in the city right now, as if they don't have a massive crime problem. Like, I think Roe versus Wade is very low on people's let's say hierarchy of problems and in the city of Los Angeles right now. So
well,
like I said,
if you kill all the poor people, there's less crime, I guess, right? So.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
Exactly.
problem
Other
solved.
news
No,
and
seriously, just
More
do that.
guns. More guns, people.
I will
Other
say
news-
Katy Perry, since like the last election, she had a baby with Orlando Bloom, right? So,
Yeah.
so I think honestly, like turning kids turns you more conservative, because you start wanting to like give them good things, more than you
Yeah.
want to feel good about yourself. I don't know.
I know how you got an election update here.
Though. There's one teeny bit of a problem. Is the DA of LA. Nothing's going to get done until that fucker is gone. And
you're not wrong.
Effort Los Angeles, San Francisco got rid of the DA. Why can't you?
Yeah. Orange had a quick note real quick. Go ahead, Lemon.
Other news in Los Angeles, specifically Los Angeles County, somebody just won $2 billion.
Oh yeah.
No. Let me correct you. It's $2 billion before taxes. After taxes, it's only going to be about $400 million. So almost 75% of the money is going to be gone in taxes before you ever touch it. So
I'm kind of mad that California got that tax money. Fuck them.
Yeah. Shocker, right? We're not going to sit here and make false accusations that the thing was rigged in their favor, because they would never do anything like that. If there's one thing we know about this government and this system, is that they would never rig anything in their favor. So, or for all you guys spreading that misinformation, we want to hear it here on this podcast.
Well, Los Angeles the homeless problem is right. That's been for for at least longer than I've been alive, and I'm like over 30 years old, and it's the same thing with San Francisco. It's the same thing with New York, but Giuliani actually did something about it. That's the difference. For a bit.
I
love it. Everyone's just calling Katy Perry a lizard in fucking chat right now.
Damn. I always say that
out.
Giuliani got rid of the mob just for New York's government to become the mob, sad to say.
I know, unfortunately. But Alyssa Milano got ratioed to hell yesterday. Supporting Karen Bass. It was so funny.
Yeah.
In the private chat, because she said, I see a lot of white, mega rich celebs who've never been political for fear of losing their popularity and wealth, endorsing a real estate tycoon who was a Republican until a few days before announcing his run for LA mayor.
You want to know what I find extremely funny? CNN's John King, as of 2 hours ago, stay off social media, people. If you're trying to figure out or who are the real, or are there any really issues with voting, trust your local officials and trust us here.
It's the Chris Cuomo Chris Cuomo, when he went out a couple years ago during the whole WikiLeaks scandal, he was like, you know what, reading WikiLeaks is illegal, so don't read anything you see on the internet, just come to us and we'll tell you what's in there. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Speaking of that, I have to point this out because I just thought it was hilarious. Elon Musk was talking about making it easier to find, credible information on Twitter. I'm like, but it's not my fault that you guys don't know how to use Twitter. I've been finding credible information on Twitter since I started using the platform in like 2012. How the fuck do you guys not know how to use Twitter?
Yeah. Yeah, like, look, I'm always questionable about shit that I read on fucking Twitter. Like, I always go, okay, this can't be real. Like, this can't be a joke. Sadly, a lot of times it is, and I think that's where we are as society. But I guess I should just kind of throw this back to you guys. Cause like I said, I'm a person born and raised in San Diego, California. I've done 2 stints there, and one of the big reasons why I left there in the first place was because I saw the homeless problem get bad all the way back in 2017 when I was walking in downtown San Diego. And if you guys know the San Diego area, downtown is pretty much homeless central. Like, you see them spread out in other places, but a lot of them pack out downtown. And I remember just walking around on my lunch break, going around Petco Park and looking around like, damn, like, there's just like a lot more homeless people here than I remember a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago. And then when you start having to deal with crazy schizophrenic people and the smell of piss and shit during the streets in the cold day, it's like it gets to a point where it's like, look, rent's already completely out of control here. I don't really own anything here. This is not the ideal situation for me. Let me get the hell out of here before I'm in a position where I can't leave. And I ended up leaving the state about 3 months before COVID hit. So got out just in time.
Nice.
Well, I gotta say this. I got out of the Bay Area. When was this? I left the Bay Area. Well, Brian died in like September. I moved out of the Bay Area in January. So like literally a few months before COVID. And ironically, where I was living, there was actually a a lot of looting at the Best Buy next to where we lived, and then in downtown Walnut Creek, there were which was like less than 10 minutes away from where we lived. There was a lot of rioting and looting, so it was kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yep. Just real quick, a couple of updates here. I know Orange Hat said in the private chat earlier, but Greg Abbott just won re-election in Texas. So Beto O'Rourke, is this like the third time he's lost now?
He is famous for losing, and somebody did or I think Liberal Hive Mind did a thing about that where where Beto O'Rourke and Stacey Abrams are more famous for losing than winning anything. And it's like, you guys are you'd be more famous because of your losing than winning. I mean, that's just the way it is. You suck, and that's what you're famous for, because you suck so much.
Yeah. I guess
also, I hate that Robert Francis O'Rourke is a fucking Irish, because he is a freaking disgrace to Irish. I'm Irish, so yeah.
Well, I guess Beta's not going to get all those AR-15s that he was bragging about, like rounding up. So
the second he tried, people had a patriotic duty to shoot back. I'm just saying.
I don't think that little grandstanding he did, we tried to pretend like the AR-15 was the guns that were used in Vietnam, really worked out for him in the long run. That may have been a misstep on his part. Yeah. Joey also brought this up in the chat, saying that they say that 70% of homeless in California are black. I don't know if that's the same in LA, because LA's homeless problem is way worse than San Diego's homeless problem. San Diego's homeless problem is bad, but that's nothing on LA's homeless problem. Yeah. But I know in the city of Los Angeles, however, not Los Angeles, in the city of San Diego, a lot of the homeless people out there are actually white. Like a lot of people kind of look past that, but yeah, there's a lot of poor white people in California too. So it's not always just with race. Like I said, LA is a different beast. It may be different there, but San Diego, it may be a slightly different story there. And as of right now, Stacey Abrams is losing by about 5 or 6 points in Georgia. But let's not celebrate just yet, because if you remember Election Day a couple of years ago, Trump was up about 350,000 votes in Georgia. And in the course of the next week, he ended up losing the state by 10,000 votes in a completely secure election.
I was going to say the majority of homeless people that I've seen in Sacramento have been white. There are black homeless people here, but they're mostly white. In like the Tenderloin, I would say in the Tenderloin in San Francisco or the Mission, I would say there's more black than white homeless people, but majority, like otherwise I've seen more white than homeless, and it's really sad because there's more like homeless veterans than anything else.
It's funny. So let's go back here to the topic here. I do have another point that I want to bring up, but just the idea that now even the celebrities are trying to find some kind of loophole where they can get away with voting for a Republican in Los Angeles, because even they acknowledge that the crime is bad there. And you gotta be honest here about the situation in LA, because LA is a very, very like big city. It's not like it's like a few blocks and then like you're in a certain area. Like LA is a massive, massive city, and most of these celebrities live about 30 minutes away from the Staples Center. So in order for them to really feel or notice like how bad things are going in Los Angeles, it has to be creeping up in like the communities like Thousand Oaks, maybe Calabasas, somewhere like more like the Santa Monica type area. Like once you start getting to like Beverly Hills and everything over like and Ventura and stuff like that. So it has to be getting bad there for the celebrities to be like, hey, we need to do something because this is getting bad. Because you can look at places like downtown LA, that place has been a shithole ever since it existed. Like there's a lot of places that look like, if you wanted to film like a crime movie that was set in like the 1970s today, all you have to do is just go to like downtown LA. You don't even have to like do no CGI or add any like kind of cars. It looks exactly like Shantytown to this very day. And then of course anything south of there, where you're talking about Compton and Watts, Inglewood, they're trying to build up around there because they got the stadium and the basketball arena that they're working on there. But yeah, LA and a lot of places have been a shithole for quite some time. So for these celebrities to finally say that they have enough, it's gotten to a point where it's gotten bad in the so-called good neighborhoods up there. So
I mean, I think it's funny that Rick Caruso basically is a Republican, but he brands himself as a Democrat just to make himself electable in Los Angeles, because that's the whole point. It's like I need to appeal to everybody, or at least enough Democrats and or liberals, so that they'll vote for me, because there's just not enough Republicans. And
Yep.
so it's like they're talk about the issues, don't try to run from them, but also don't treat people like they're stupid either. And so it's just like, you know, try to make yourself sympathetic, I guess, ultimately. But I feel like there's this game still being played where it's like, okay, why can't you just run as a Republican? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever gets the job done.
Because, well, in California, it's kind of like with Oregon and Washington, where like there's just this mindset you got to vote blue no matter who kind of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the politicians have started to realize, because the Republican California GOP has gotten so weak ever since Schwarzenegger left, that they have to do this. Otherwise, it's not an even playing field. It sucks that it's this way for right now. But until someone really steps up and just like gives that like governor strength, Reagan strength, to like really, you know, raise the party out of this shithole, that's just going to be how it is, and that people are going to play the game like this.
Well, I got some good news for myself and CS Johnson here is that the Citizen Desk headquarters, which is the Twitter account that does all the election stuff, they have predicted that Brian Kemp will remain governor of the state of Georgia. So they're the ones predicting it. None of the other big TV networks have saying it yet, but they're saying that Brian Kemp is on pace to the win right now. So that's a huge breath of relief that we don't have to worry about Governor Stacey Abrams. So let's keep our fingers.
We had like a $5 billion tax revenue profit thing this year too. So.
Oh yeah, and she's been talking about publicly. She's been talking about publicly taking that money and basically wiping that out. So
she's
that's what she's been running
governor, I guess.
Well, I think that's every politician's job. I tell my kids, when you vote for the person that's least likely to spend, or the most likely to spend the least amount of money on the most, or the least stupid amount of stuff. Yeah, that's probably I should probably word it better, but that's basically it. So at the end of the day,
so like I said, that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I just vote for the people like that are gonna handle my money, and it's so much of it goes into like home ownership stuff, because one of the things like that kind of keeps my county more red is that they've been talking about redrawing the district lines for like apartment buildings and stuff, like for income housing, and it's like a lot of people don't necessarily like that this far out of Atlanta, especially since most of Atlanta has had a lot of issues.
You want to make people angry in Atlanta? Tell them let's draw a line between North Fulton County and South Fulton County and see how they accept that one. Because I think there's gonna be a lot of people upset by that just alone. But you know, that's my solution.
Well, I think they should start watching a lot of the problems that we have with the immigration stuff. So
yeah. Well, not only that, it's not just immigration, but they said this a couple of years ago with Biden. The big problem here with the state of Georgia is that 31% of the people who voted for Biden here in Georgia just moved here in the last 5 years. 31% of the people here voted for him, just moved here, and he won by 10,000 votes. So keep that in perspective.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, like I live near Atlanta, and there's a lot of my kids actually like to play the game where you check off the license plates as you see them, and we've seen a lot. You know, we saw Utah the other day, and Minnesota, and Mississippi, Maryland. I saw West Virginia today.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even my best friend moved here from California, so it's like, yeah, we have a lot of people here, you know.
Well, let's go ahead and get the victory parade out of the way, because our good buddy all the way from Texas is joining us right now live on the show. Mr. Rick Aragon, how you doing? I want to get your thoughts. You're live in Texas, so you're in the war zone right now. Beto is now a 3-time loser. He lost the presidential run, he lost the Senate run, and now he's officially lost the governor's run. How do you feel about Governor Beto hitting the trifecta down there in Texas?
Well, you know, like I said, I had to skip the victory party tonight to join you guys. And actually, I did go to the first one. When he ran for Senate, I did go. It was at Southwest University Park, where the Chihuahuas and the Locomotive play, and you know, it was weird because at the end of the night, I was the only one still dancing to the music. I don't know why everyone was crying, but that's just being mean.
Well, you The Gene Kelly of Beto parties, then.
I am the
So-
Gene Kelly of Beto
Oh
parties.
my
Yes.
god.
And
I
note
know.
that she brought it up, not me.
I know.
I figured we'd just
That's
get it out
what's
of the way.
scary.
Everybody, okay? Don't hate me.
Yeah, I got my little I voted sticker, although I'm cheating because I voted early. When it comes to Beto, I'll say this much. I jokes aside, I think it's time that Texas Democrats stopped looking at him to be their great white hope to turn Texas purple or blue or whatever color they want.
The dude has lost 3 straight elections. Like
Yes.
he can't get in anywhere. They won't let him in as a governor, as a presidential candidate, or as a senate. So it's like, give it up, bro. Like no one likes you.
and the thing is that he's lost twice against relatively unpopular candidates. Not many people liked Cruz. I don't. Not many people like Abbott. I don't, and I didn't vote for either. But I think part of it might be that he's been very sheltered here in El Paso. El Paso is a firmly committed Democratic city. You
Yeah.
will never have a. I think you've only had a Republican representative once in like the 60s for a single term. But other than that, there's really no Republican Party to speak of here in El Paso. It's a pretty solidly Democratic community. And Beto, when he ran for Congress, and when he was on City Council, he was not used to having any competitive races. So he goes out from his bubble, goes to the rest of the state, and thinks just by the nature of his charm and his I guess his youth and having people sing love songs to him, that he was going to sweep into power. Yeah, remember there's that Beto Maniac, like the leader of the pack. They had that weird song.
Oh God.
Yeah, so so he thought he could win, and he thought the celebrity endorsements, because remember he had Beyonce endorse him one time, and then recently, your generation's Gene Kelly didn't endorse him, or at least
my
was
God.
celebrating. Yeah, when he went to the Harry Styles concert.
He went to
But-
some country music stars concert the other week,
Oh yeah,
and it was
Willie
who
Willie
cares?
loved him. Willie loves him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Willie Nelson was doing an
Yeah.
event with him earlier in the cycle, and it's just like, it's so shameless. Can you just retire in peace, Willie Nelson?
And he did do that when he ran for Senate as well. That's the thing with Beto. He had this kind of bubble. He lived here in El Paso. He never had anyone really challenge him, and so, golly, no.
After 3 losses, just give it up, man.
I think Beto really, and not just Beto. I think the Democratic Party in Texas should try to find someone else. He's not going to be this champion that's going to bring would bring Texas into play. He's not. It's time. I'm just curious what his response is going to be. I've not seen it, but I'm curious what his response is going to be after having lost for a third time in the statewide race. He's never won a statewide race. He's won a congressional race, but that's local.
Yeah.
So it's time for Mr. O'Rourke to give it up. Maybe he can. He'll probably, if he runs ever again, he'll probably run for a local race, like maybe mayor or county commissioner, county judge. He'll probably start, going on lecture tours and try to maybe work behind the scenes. But in terms of political races here in Texas, this should be it. He should just not bother trying to run again. And I say
Hey,
this as
he and
someone who
Stacey
likes him.
Abrams can run for president of Earth on next season of Star Trek.
Oh God.
Well,
Don't give him ideas.
But I'm kind of I'm surprised though about Georgia, because I thought she won the first time. I mean, she hasn't been reelected.
She has yet to concede the election she lost 4 years ago. So yeah, you just could run again and pretend like you're being reelected.
But she's
That's
not
right.
an election denier. Just for the
Bossy women just live in denial. That's Don't just completely deny your
See,
haters.
4 years ago, the problem was that Kemp was a racist and that all the elections were getting snuffed out. So she was keeping Kemp was keeping the black people from voting 4 years ago. This time around, it's the misinformation of black men that's allowing her not to win this time around. So whatever conclusion you have to come to, that's not I'm a hateful bitch and no one likes me. That's the one you have to go to.
But do you remember when she pivoted to the law enforcement thing a couple months ago? She was like, "Oh, yeah, the police are good. We need to fund our police," and it was like, she's in trouble.
Where was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, well, she was in trouble because even Tyler Perry came out and said that the cops do a good job protecting his studio down in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he's in College Park where he needs it.
Well, well, I think that Stacey Abrams did not help herself when she seemed very lukewarm at best after the All-Star game was pulled from Atlanta.
Yeah.
That
remember she tried to lie after the fact and be like, no, I tried to stop them from pulling the All-Star game out of Georgia. And then the fucking commissioner, Ron Manford, said, oh no, we definitely talked to Stacey Abrams before we made the decision to move the game out of Atlanta. Because it was her voting, that was the one that Kemp was passing about the state ID law that she was protesting was the reason why they moved it out of Atlanta last year. And then she tried to pretend like after the fact, oh no, I had nothing to do with that.
This is a dumb question, but why is Manfred speaking to Abrams? I know that she was technically elected the governor, but she has no real that she's a private citizen. Why is he consulting?
Well, no,
her?
She wasn't technically elected the governor. She was morally elected the governor. So
no, she wasn't even morally elected. She was delusionally elected.
She's the LARPing governor. That's what she is.
But no, she was elected. She was
That's an old meme. Sorry.
I'm hearing an echo from somebody.
Not me, man.
Maybe me?
I think it might have been Nerdigans.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gone now. It's definitely Nerdigans. Let me get this question because Neo has a question here. He says, I know too far ahead, but do you think history will repeat itself? And now in 2024, where we elect the president just like how Carter was so bad they voted for Reagan? I wouldn't get my hopes up, but we'll see how the rest of this night goes. But I say we could definitely be there because I think we're at a point now, especially the way that this election holds up, where I think people are just truly sick and tired of Democrats and the constant, the whole things with like inflation is getting worse. The whole thing with like food supply. And by the way, just no matter how this thing goes tonight, we're still going to have food supply issues. We're going to have diesel issues. We're going to have energy issues. Like those things are still going to get bad for the next couple of years. There's just no way about it. But I think people are just sick and tired of having their lives ruined. And they didn't forget what happened during COVID when all the Democrats locked down their states for a couple of years and then tried to force their citizens to get vaccinated and went through the whole vaccine passports and all this other stuff. So I think under Democrat rule, they've made everyone's lives miserable in a very short amount of time, and people are fed up. And it hasn't even been long enough for anyone to forget exactly what happened, so they can't bullshit their way out of it like they've done in the past. Like people fucking remember what went down.
I got something to say in regards to the fuel and food issue. Now, if things change in California and we have a change of the guard, things will change here because that way we'll have more drilling. We'll have more food production going, and things will change with the farmers. Because right now, the only thing that's holding California back is our idiot state government. Because we have the natural gas drilling and all that here. We can drill for fuel. Yeah. That's not an issue. We got tons of it. We have Long Beach has its own artificial island for drilling. For fuck's sake. Yeah. It's all there. It's ready to go. It's just these idiots from EPA controlling everything.
And it's all artificial, too. I mean, one of the first things Biden did when he got in the office was shut down a major pipeline that caused gas and energy to fucking skyrocket. And then they try to pretend like, that had nothing to do with the problem. Now, what I'm worried about is that we're coming up here on the winter months, and there's already talks about we may have a diesel shortage, and people don't think that that's a big deal. Well, how do you think your food gets to the grocery stores? On on giant trucks that run on diesel. So if we start having diesel issues, that means that you think that your food bill is bad now. Wait till a couple of months when the trucks can no longer afford to bring the food to your grocery stores. How bad food prices are going to be then. So those are still some of the things that I'm looking at. Even if Republicans do happen to take the House and the Senate tonight, there's still a lot of issues that's not going to get any better anytime soon in the next few months.
The other thing I have to point out as well, and maybe you can answer this, Rick, is where Texas plays a role in this as well, because Texas has a lot of fuel reserves to boot that can be unleashed, and they have a lot of they have a lot of rigs down there too.
No, I have no answer to that. I have no answer to that. All I can say is that it's fine, because all of these things about the diesel shortage, food shortage, all that, it will be worth it if it saves just one life. All right,
I'm gonna have
saves
you killed.
just one life.
I'm gonna have you assassinated live on stream in real life.
I am in Texas, so there are a lot of guns around here. So,
No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, no, come on, that was the rationale for everything.
Yes, it was, and it was
Saves
completely
just one life.
It's like if it saves just one life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna need to save your life if you keep pushing that kind of stupidity.
Yeah.
That's what.
They remember they pushed if it just saves one life, and then like 2 years later be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't have locked down kids for a couple of years. Maybe that was a bad idea.
Yeah, we all knew it was a bad idea.
Yeah, we told you then. So like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the election stuff as the night goes on, but I want to talk about a story that rapidly progressed after we talked about it last night, and it seemingly only gotten worse for Mr. Kyrie Irving. So if you guys haven't been following this story, let's pull it up right here. Last week, there was a whole lot of outrage going on. So when I got back from Orlando last week, I saw the press conference, which we played on here, where if you guys don't know what happened, Kyrie Irving got in trouble for a couple of social media posts that he made. There was one post on like Instagram where he linked a video of Alex Jones documentary from like 25 years ago, where Alex Jones was essentially talking about secret societies that run the world, right? And because he was talking about secret societies, people automatically assume that, oh, he's being anti-Semitic. Well, it's like, well, you didn't say Jews during that, so maybe you guys are snitching on yourselves. But then the one thing that really got people pissed off was the fact that on Twitter, he posted a link to a documentary on Amazon that is still up on Amazon, by the way, called Hebrews to Negroes, the Wake Up Black People in America, something like that, something around those lines. And it was a documentary on Amazon, which you have to pay $50 to watch, which fuck that. And the idea here is that it was pushing a lot of the narratives from like black Israelites, black Hebrew Israelites, talking about how black people are the real Jews and how Jews are like the fake Jews, things in that nature. So people got pissed, right? All because he tweeted the link to the documentary. So he went out there and the media tried to get him to denounce it, apologize. He just said, hey, look, I'm not anti-Semitic. Just because I posted the link of this doesn't mean that I agree with all the views that are being associated with this. But they were like, no, we want you to denounce this and apologize. So Kyrie came out and he did a little statement where he said that, hey, look, once again, I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't have nothing against Jewish people, things of that nature, but it's like, no, we need you to say the words. And because he didn't say exactly what they wanted him to say, they decided that they were going to suspend him. So he's currently suspended from playing from the Brooklyn Nets. And the way that they framed this initially was that, oh, he'll be suspended for 5 games. It's like, okay, social media backlash, 5-game suspension. What they didn't tell you is that actually he has a list of, let's just say, demands that he has to meet before he'll even be allowed to play for the Brooklyn Nets ever again. So Adam Silver came out and talked about the suspension. Pretty much everyone in the entire media conglomerate has denounced Kyrie Irving for a tweet, by the way, just a tweet. Like, didn't say any commentary. It was just one tweet, and everyone has come out, called him an idiot. Charles Barkley has said he needed to be suspended before he got suspended. Shaq's publicly called him an idiot. Everybody on ESPN, CNN, Fox, everyone's just absolutely like destroying this guy in the media right now. But here you have the story from CBS Sports that says that even though Kyrie's suspension is for a minimum of 5 games, he has to do these 6 things before he is allowed to return to the team. And here's what it says: is he has to apologize and condemn the film that he promoted on Twitter. So he has to make a public statement apologizing and condemning the movie that he tweeted out. He has to make a $500,000 donation to anti-hate causes. Now, he was initially going to give $500,000 to the ADL, but the ADL rejected that amount because, according to them, his apology wasn't enough because it wasn't a real apology. He has to go through sensitivity training. He has to go through anti-Semitism training. He has to meet with the ADL and Jewish leaders. They don't say exactly who the Jewish leaders are, but he has to meet with them. And then he has to meet with the owner of the team to demonstrate his understanding of the situation that he quote unquote caused. So until he does these 6 things, he is not allowed to play for the Brooklyn Nets. And let's be honest, no one else, they can trade him to another team, but no one else is going to allow him to play until he follows the same steps. So Kyrie Irving's NBA career is pretty much in jeopardy over a tweet. He may not play ever again. We don't know. Now, I think they've only done like maybe 2 or 3 games since they levied his suspension. So we don't know how Kyrie is going to handle this. He's been pretty quiet since they've handled it, since he got suspended. There's been no updates as of now, but that's the rules. Until he does that, he's not allowed to play basketball anymore. Rob, you missed this story last week, and I know you've been chopped at the bit for this one for a while. So what is just kind of your thoughts on this whole situation and how it played out over the last couple of weeks?
This whole situation just reminds me of like an overreaction, and the people that are overreacting to it, like everybody can see you. Everybody can see what you're doing. And there have been people in the NBA that have said a lot worse, that have promoted all kinds of negative cultural, whatever movements or pieces of art, music, etc. This is a documentary that's it may be suggestive, it may be controversial. So what? Who cares? It's like you're making an example out of a guy that didn't do anything. He simply posted a link to to a movie that's on Amazon. And it's like everybody's just watching the situation unfold and expecting there to be some logic behind the NBA and the Brooklyn Nets actions, but it's like that whole thing about the people you can't criticize, in society, those are the people that rule over you. That's how this whole thing looks. And I'm trying to be very careful with my language here, but it's like you're kind of making the point that people should maybe look into things. And it's like I don't even know how to respond because I almost don't believe it. I can't believe this situation is playing out in public where it's like, does everybody remember the South Park episode where Randy said naggers? Or excuse me, that he didn't say that. He said the other thing. Yeah, that was the answer. And
people who annoy you.
It's you have to kiss our butt. You have to do what we say because we own you. And it's like, but that's what's happening. And I know that sounds really offensive coming out of my mouth, but it's like, I don't know how to respond otherwise because I look at this whole situation. It's like, look, Kyrie has said some crazy shit. He's been somebody who said things I don't agree with. He believes in the flat earth theory. So he's a guy that's willing to go there. But it's like, if I was in his shoes, I would just be like, no, I'm not going to jump through your hoops. Go fuck yourself. I have tens of millions of dollars that I can live on for the rest of my life. I don't need to play in your bullshit league if this is who you really are.
By the way, I just want to point this out too. This is a guy who last year sat out almost 60 games because in the state of New York, in the city of New York, that was when they were pushing that whole COVID mandate. And it's like, unless you get the vaccine, you're not even allowed to come into the arena. So you can't play for the team. So they tried to force him to get the vaccine last year in order to play. He said, no, I'm not putting that shit in my body. So if I have to sit out and give up $15 million, which he did, gave up $15 million just so he can refuse the vaccine, then he did it. So well, these are people who are already angry at him because they tried to get him to submit on the vaccine. They couldn't do it. And now they're trying to get him on this. And I just want to point this out too. Here's the thing. So this is the whole documentary everyone's been complaining about, the Hebrews to Negroes Wake Up Black America. Here's a couple of things about this, right? First of all, this is a fucking 3.5 hour documentary. What fucking crackhead is going to sit here and watch 3.5 hours of this fucking shit on Amazon?
I wouldn't even rent $50 for this fucking shit.
By the way,
it's $12 to rent. Just
rent $12 to rent, and then $50 to buy. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, standard definition is only 40 though.
Oh well, that makes it okay then.
Right.
What's standard definition for rent?
Let me see here.
$1 less. It's $1 less. Yeah, $10.99.
Yeah, barely.
Fuck you! I ain't paying that much for shit. I mean, holy crap, man.
Yeah, and then here's the other thing. And then here's the other thing. It's like people are saying that, oh, Kyrie Irving blew this up. He made a big deal out of it. Here's the reality of the situation. If you guys said nothing, no one would have ever even talked about this whole thing. Do you think that that the original tweet got that much engagement that millions of people were going to go spend $50 on this fucking documentary that's 3.5 hours long? They would have the same reaction that all of us just had. Like, it's how long? It's how much? No, I'm not watching that bullshit. They would have moved on with their lives. But because the entire media conglomerate has come down against this guy, because the entire Jewish community of the media in New York and Adam Silver and all of these people have come down on this guy, now it's like, okay, so do I have to like watch this thing now because you guys are so angry about this thing? Which, keep in mind, is there a lot of BS when it comes to what the black Hebrew Israelites believe in? Yes, of course it is. No one's saying that, oh, I'm going to watch this documentary, I'm suddenly going to believe everything that they say. But because you guys made a fucking mountain out of a molehill, you guys are the ones who have made this worse. Like I said, if you guys just said nothing, no one would be talking about this right now. He'd be playing basketball, and not a single person would have ever brought up this documentary ever again. But because you guys have made this a situation now where, no, you have to jump through all these hoops in order to get your life back, in order to get your job back, here we are. So congratulations for being just complete and utter idiots. And I'll say, I don't know what's going to happen here because we're talking about a league now who, like I said, even if they trade him from Brooklyn, they're not going to allow him to play for another team unless he jumps through all the hoops. Like, they're not going to let him get away for a second time. This is a fucking league that has promotional deals, merchandise deals, and have played games in countries like fucking China. And there was one, I don't want to say Saudi Arabia, but it was one of those Middle Eastern countries that have a lot of questionable rules and laws for its citizens as well. So clearly they don't care about oppression. They don't care about optics or anything like that. So it's like, what are we even doing here? And to Rob's point, it's like, yeah, you're trying to tell people that, hey, believing that a certain group of people control everything is an anti-Semitic gesture. Well, you're not exactly doing anything to prove those people wrong, especially when Kyrie Irving, who is a Black Lives Matter supporter, you've convinced a large portion of black people in this country that white people are oppressing them every way they can form in society. How do you think that's going to look to them, the way what you're doing to Kyrie Irving right now? How do you think that's going to play out to people in their minds when you've already made them believe that they're living in a racist, oppressive society? So they're seeing a black man who's saying things that you guys don't approve of, and you're dropping the hammer down on him. Do you think in any way, shape, or form this is helping your cause by doing what you're doing right now?
Well, here's another thing. One of their conditions was he needs to spend $500 million or
no,
500,000.
$500,000.
500,000.
Yeah.
So, you're telling a guy that he has to take 500,000 of his own money and donate it to a cause that he either may or may not believe in. Who the fuck do you think you are?
For a tweet.
For a tweet. And yeah, I get maybe that shit may be controversial of what he tweeted. But honestly, nobody has any freaking right. Not even in a contract, I'm willing to bet. Because if there's a contract in the NBA that says that they have control over what you spend your money on, I'm sorry, but I would get a lawyer and I would have them look at that contract and say, is this legal? You don't get the freaking nobody should get to dictate your freaking money unless you are not mentally competent enough to handle it yourself.
Well, you know what's crazy about the situation is that he didn't even say anything anti-Semitic. Like they were like, you have to say you're not anti-Semitic. It's like, I never claimed I was.
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
Even in the interviews before they suspended him that they kept badgering him about, he kept saying, "No, I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't have a problem with Jewish people. Like it's just a tweet." Like, but it's like, no, you have to say, you have to, like I said, in the list of demands, you have to denounce the movie. You have to denounce anti-Semitism. You have to follow our script, or else we're gonna take away your job. It's like what?
This is the ADL doing this.
Yes.
Okay, ADL, you guys are a bunch of dumbasses. You could be putting this time towards the Jew-free zones that are being established in, I don't know, New York, or the one that was established in UC Berkeley. The one in New York's been there for like a few years now. You could be putting this effort towards, I don't know, stopping the knockout game that's going on the street every day. You could be putting all this effort towards all this other bullshit, but you're doing it on this? Why? Why? Oh, because you want to send a message, because you want attention, because you want clout. Hey, DL, stop your fuckery. This is stupid. You don't give a shit. Let's be real. You just want money and clout.
Yeah, like you were saying before, like last week, like this is essentially extortion. Like not even essentially, this is like straight up extortion.
I mean, here's the thing. Also, look at the optics if he decides to go there. He can easily pull the race card and say, you are forcing a black man to waste his money on something that he may or may not believe in.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I were talking about optics before the stream, remember?
Yeah.
And it's like, just think of that optics alone. If he was to actually go out to the media and talk about that, I guarantee you the NBA would back down.
Yeah. If you had simply just backed down from the jump, you could have avoided this entire thing. Let's say worst case scenario happens in here, and all of a sudden Kyrie Irving, this multimillionaire basketball player, goes full Farrakhan. Whose fault do you think there's going to be at that point when that fucking happens? When the guy straight up told you, when the guy gave you the answer, it's like, no, I'm not anti-Semitic, I don't hate Jewish people, let's move on here. They're just like, okay, you know what? Now they're telling me that I can't play basketball anymore unless I talk to all these people. And then it's funny because, Nerdigan's here, as we said a couple times in the past, has talked about Tommy Sotomayor here on this podcast. I remember there was a clip going viral of him last week saying that, all this talk about white supremacy, how we're living under this evil white era of, racist people and stuff like that. It's like, when was the last time a black man was forced to meet with white leaders because he tweeted something offensive about white people? Like, when was the last time that's ever happened in this country?
Yeah, he was actually just on live stream talking about Kyrie Irving. I think it was a couple days ago, and this was the first time he's been on YouTube in like a while now, because all these mofos, all these black people were taking his channels down.
Yep, and they've been doing that for years too. So, well, we have another guest on the show that we want to jump in really quick. He hasn't been here in weeks, making his grand return to the Barroom Podcast. Let's join everyone, Mr. TW. How you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yay!
How's it going?
Hey. How's it going, bro?
Hey. Yeah, I came in at a heck of a time, man. I mean, I was hearing Rob saying something about the naggers thing. I'm like, whoa, that's I'm running too.
Yeah, well, we were coming in hot. Let's just put it out.
Preparing the way for you.
Oh,
yep. Any other discussion, any other points we want to bring up on this one before we move on to our next topic here?
Oh yeah, I think the Kyrie thing is honestly kind of crazy, and it's not shocking though. The same thing happened. I mean, if that sort of thing happened with Kanye West, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that would happen with Kyrie. I think it really does put a bit of a sort of emphasis that maybe there is some truth to that, that maybe Jews do have somewhat of a stronghold over, like media and shit.
like I said, it's the reaction to this instead of just letting it go, letting it die, and giving it no attention whatsoever. The fact that
That
they're
would have been the
blowing
best thing.
everything up now, it's like, yeah, we need to completely bury Kanye West because he has too much power. We need to completely bury Kyrie Irving because he has too much power. Well, now people who weren't thinking before that maybe that there's an evil cabal of people out there are going to start going, well, who maybe they have a point. Let me dig a little deeper into this,
Exactly.
and then you're going to lead people into the fucking rabbit hole that you don't want them to lead them into in the first place because you guys just can't leave good enough
Hey,
alone.
guys.
Overall, I
real-
hope he doesn't cave. He seems like the type that won't. He just doesn't seem to give a fuck, and I can appreciate that. It's crazy all these steps that they're putting in front of him. It's like
Yeah.
you must completely kowtow, otherwise you're done. And it's
Like
just
you talk
like
about bend the knee.
yeah, it's like literally you must submit to being to re-education. Like at this point, why don't you fucking say? At this point, it's just like, well, Mr. Kyrie Irving, in order for you to continue to play for the NBA, you must consent to this fucking lobotomy so that we can fix your brain because apparently something is wrong with you or some bullshit like that. It's like, how far are you guys willing to take it? Because that's what it fucking sounds like to me. And
Yeah.
look, I'd say, hey, play the race card. Clearly, these people hate black people. Fuck it.
Might as well.
Ride it out.
It's hard to try to follow that another classic rant.
It's hard to follow.
But I'll just add that it just seems. I was thinking about this. History seems to repeat itself. What they're asking Kyrie Irving to do is really no different than the struggle sessions that you saw in Maoist China, or the auto de fe that you had during the Inquisitions, where you had to do penance and had to prove that you were not a heretic or an infidel or what have you. This is the same case. I think a simple apology would have been fine and said, all right, I retweeted something that was dumb, that was offensive, hurtful, and I apologize. I recognize that it was an error in judgment. But now they're having him take all of these steps to do a public atonement for his sins. It does seem to be excessive. I think just with the simple apology, I don't know if as a society we're incapable of accepting apologies anymore, and we need to have this public ritual lashing for people who do something dumb. And I'm surprised, honestly, too, that nobody has seemed to criticize the Black Israelites or the Black Hebrews or whatever they're called. They're the ones who put this 3-hour smorgasbord together.
Well, not only that. Not only that, no one's put any heat whatsoever on Amazon for having this thing on their platform to begin with. Like everyone's been bitching about, oh, Kyrie put this out on his platform, it's his fault. What about Amazon, who's actually profiting on this right now? Or where's the heat on Amazon and Jeff Bezos for this thing even being on their platform to begin with? It's not like he went to posted some dark web website where he can go complain about Jewish people. This shit is on Amazon right now.
Bezos has enough issues on his hands right now with Rings of Power failing terribly. So.
Yeah,
well,
and the Redskins.
I'm just curious though, because I haven't seen this 3-hour festival. I'm waiting for I'm saving up my 3-hour film for Black Panther, the inevitable Best Picture winner. But I'm puzzled. I mean, is this a Hebrews to Negroes or whatever it's called? Is this on the same level as the Eternal Jew? I mean, I have seen clips of that. That is thoroughly disgusting. This one, I don't know what it is. I don't care to watch it. But is it on the same level as something as virulently obscene as the Eternal Jew?
Well, I can't speak to it because I haven't seen it. I don't know that I really even want to, but I just the idea of the black Hebrew Israelites, that's just look, I understand it on a certain level of oh, hey, we've been lied to. It's a fantasy, right? We've been lied to all of our lives. And the real, we really are God's chosen people, which is what the Jews actually believe. Just religiously, that's what they believe. So You know, and in a sense, if you really want to go there, I mean, you could maybe say that all religious people believe that on some level, but yeah, I understand it from a storytelling kind of fantasy perspective of just like, oh, hey, we are God's chosen people, etc. So I don't think it's that alarming. It's just what it seems to say past that point. How egregious it might be.
Yeah, like I said, no one's saying that there isn't any delusions in that whole video. But then again, like, you didn't have to, like, you could have watched that whole 3 hour and the 30-minute thing and come to the same conclusion that this whole thing is full of shit and delusional. But they fear people being able to think for themselves, and the fact that out of 9 or 10 people who may be like, no, this is completely fucking stupid, if that one person believes it, then it's like, oh no, we got a problem on our hands. So it's like, quick, hit him with wrong think. It's like, okay, good luck with that. Quick little update here in Georgia. I think the Senate race between Walker and Warnock is now completely tied at 80%. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, if they're actually going to call a winner tonight, or we're going to have to wait like 3 weeks to figure out who actually won this thing.
Warnock's winning, man. I mean, no matter, even if it's not even a question if I even like either, because I really don't, but it's just like, I don't think there's anything like Walker can do to like repair his image. It's been so like shattered.
Yeah, as of right now, it's 1,000 vote lead for Walker at the moment. So
yeah,
really,
we're this far in. If we're 80% of the vote
coming,
if 80% of the vote is in, and it's basically tied, he's got a shot. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I guess so.
Keep this in mind too, that with 80% of the vote in, Kemp is now up about 53% on Abrams. So Kemp looks like he's just gonna completely run away with that one. But yeah, the Senate race here in Georgia looks neck and neck at the moment, and then we're still waiting for the West Coast to close. So
that does not
they both have their issues.
Either. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, I'll say this: leftists on Twitter are melting down right now because, like, how can all this stuff that came out about Walker, and I was like, how could people have 49% be voting for him? And it's like, this is how it always comes down to in elections. It's like, unless you're a dumpster fire as a candidate, these are competitive races largely.
Yeah. And let's jump into just for a quick second here, because this is the whole thing, which is really disingenuous from the jump. The whole big, I guess, was it October surprise on Walker is that, oh, well, he made a girl get an abortion like years ago, something like that. And that's bad. You guys should definitely turn against him. It's like, but wait a minute, you guys have basically been worshiping abortion for like the last 3 or 5 years now. So why all of a sudden are you trying to frame it as if all of a sudden it's a bad thing? Because if one of your candidates did the same thing, you'd probably be celebrating them right now. So the fact that you're trying to like frame this as like, oh, this is the ultimate cardinal sin, it's like, but wait a second, you guys did like whole songs and dances for abortion, and we saw how you guys acted a few months ago when Roe versus Wade got overturned. So it was like the whole disconnection of all of a sudden, it's like, can you believe that guy got an abortion? It's like, but don't you guys like shout your abortions now?
Don't forget the recent movie called Jane.
Oh yeah, that one, which bombed horribly. By the way,
I was gonna say,
didn't
why
even
would
make
we even think of it? Everybody else seems to have forgotten it. So.
Yeah, exactly, and all the other crap that's going on in the last few years. So
hypocrisy. Yeah, exactly.
So, I got some breaking news in regards to Twitter. Elon Musk sold $4 billion worth of Tesla shares after buying Twitter for $44 billion.
Trying to recoup that money.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's smart.
Of all things you'd want to purchase, Twitter. Yikes.
The fact that Warnock, and I apologize for keep calling him Warlock. The fact that Warnock,
I almost did that too.
The fact that he as an incumbent is coming close to Herschel Walker, who's by no means a good candidate.
Yeah,
that does not bode well for him or for Walker. It seems that seems to be a running theme where people just have these lousy choices.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well,
odds of better.
It's not only that, but you also have to remember that, as we said here earlier on the show, if you go back to that election 2 years ago, Trump had a massive lead here in the state of Georgia by the time everyone went to bed. And in the course of the next week, he ended up losing by 10,000 votes. So there was a lot of questions about just how secure and how legitimate that election was, especially if you look at Fulton County, which is downtown Atlanta. So there's a lot of people be like, okay, Biden won, Georgia, but did he really win Georgia? So now we're seeing tonight that Kemp is running away with the governor's race right now. Then the Senate race is pretty much neck and neck at the moment. Like,
I want to see the concession from Abrams.
Kemp right now has a 8-point lead in the race with 80% of the votes counted. So if Stacey Abrams somehow manages to win this, like, there's going to be a lot of pretty pissed off people here if she makes up that much ground in the last 20%. So
no, the media called it. That's it.
Yeah,
the media called it. That's it. That's over.
Like, I can't really say I know anything about Abrams, but it just sucks that we're gonna have to keep dealing with more years of Kemp.
Like I said, I'm personally not even that big of a fan of Kemp anyway. Because I mean, look, I liked being here in Georgia during like the COVID lockdowns. We didn't have to deal with so much bullshit, but I don't think like he pushed back on a lot of shit he should have pushed back on. So I was very lukewarm of him going into this as well. So, but I know what Stacey Abrams represents, and I know she's a snake in the grass, and I don't want her running this state and turning it into fucking California either. So,
okay.
Well, sadly, we might have to.
Has moved here already.
All I knew is it's just like, dude, we've been dealing with Kemp for so long. It's just like, fuck, man.
Oh, and a quick update before I go back to Johnson here. The Arizona governor's race right now, with all the issues with the voting machines that's been going on all day. Right now, Lake is down 11%, where 40% of the votes counted. And like I said, all day long, there's been talks about 20% of the voting machines haven't worked. They've been trying to tell people to go home because the machines don't work, even though they're not supposed to do that at all. So there's been a lot of questionable shit going on in Arizona. But with 40% counted, she's down 55 to 45. So we'll see if that moves. And there's probably going to be some contested results there in Arizona to keep an eye on. All right, man. Well, let's go back into our entertainment portion of this podcast. Let's talk about Jimmy Kimmel for a second.
Let's go back to the election stuff, please.
Well, okay, you got
probably the one person in here that actually was like, "Hey, I didn't get to be around for the entertainment stuff."
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, there's also the fact that Star Wars is replacing a black man with a white man too, so you could say that Star Wars is being racist in terms of director.
Yeah, but I mean, no one's ever going to call him on it, obviously. So
Yeah.
But so you guys remember late night television? I'm pretty sure that at some point in your lives there was probably a time where you liked Jay Leno, what's his name, Conan O'Brien back in the day, David Letterman. Maybe you were a fan of Arsenio. Maybe you were a fan of a whole bunch of other guys who have come along back in the day. Yeah, like there was a time in this country where late night TV, people really enjoyed it. And kind of the concept of late night TV was that you had a host, he would come out and do an opening monologue, make a few jokes at the expense of celebrities. They do a couple of bits, then they'll talk to one celebrity, he'll promote his crap. They'll talk to another celebrity, promote his crap. Then you get a music performance. Then by the end of the hour, you go home, you go to sleep, and everyone had a good day, right? Well, over the course of the last 5 or 6, 7 years, late night TV has completely changed. Because it's no longer about being entertaining for the sake of the mass audience. It's all anti-Trump, anti-Republican propaganda down the line. Kimmel, Fallon, Colbert, Gordon, who's the other ones I can think of? Trevor Noah, Myers. Bill Maher, Myers, like all these guys, Samantha Bee. The list goes. No, not anymore. That's for sure. But you go down the list over and over again that, all of these shows has essentially become propaganda for Democrats, and the ratings have absolutely evaporated. Now, when you look at it from a long-term perspective, the only people who really liked or watched late night TV to that degree back in the day were your boomer generation, your older generation, who get up and they would watch, Leno over Letterman and things of that nature. But that's kind of gone down now, and the ratings are in the toilet. So Jimmy Kimmel, by the way, he's going to host, was it the Oscars coming up this year, because no one else wants to fucking do the show. So Kimmel,
the Oscars were too white though.
Well, they weren't too light this year when fucking Will Smith smacked the shit out of Chris Rock. That's what happens when you let. That's what happens when you let black men on stage. They just smack the shit out of each other and cause the scene. but
How could
but
people
yeah,
still be ranting on Trump in this day and age? It's like, he's not even in office anymore. Get over it.
well, they can't let it
They
go.
can't let go.
Yeah. So he went and did a podcast earlier this week, and he talked about the fact how he said that at one point that if the network, being ABC, which is Disney owned, had tried to make him stop doing Trump jokes, that he would have quit. And you probably would have just better off getting rid of him altogether at this point.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
so he talks about here. He says there was one time, maybe I don't know, right around the beginning of this whole thing, like the whole Trump thing, where I kind of hinted at it. It's like, but I said that, listen, I get it, I don't disagree. I mean, you're right. As a result, Kimmel said that he lost a good chunk of his fan base due to his anti-Trump opinions on the show, which are constant, by the way. And by the way, it's not like he just only attacks Trump and nobody else. He's gone after Republicans in office, and he's gone after voters. He's gone after people who have protested mask mandates and vaccine mandates, and people who just generally disagree with Democrats in any way, shape, or form. He's gone after all these people and gone after them pretty viciously too. Like, he's one of the worst guys in all of late night. I think the only guy that may be worse than him is Colbert. But Colbert's just a complete fucking chill. But Kimmel has been like viciously going after people who disagree with him for years, and that's why he's lost so many of his fans, because it's like, this is not the same guy from 10 years ago. This is not the same guy from the Man Soldier. This guy's a complete fucking sellout now. He says that I may have lost half of my fans, probably more than that. Yeah, I think it's more likely more than that. 10 years ago, amongst Republicans, I was the most popular talk show, according to the research that they did. That was because he got a lot of like the Avengers guys, and he was doing like a lot of the big. He had access to all the big interviews because he's Disney back, so all the Disney back properties like Star Wars and Marvel went to his show first in order to get promotion. He said that if I just did that, if that's what you want to do, I understand. I don't begrudge you for it, but I'm not going to do that. So if you want someone else to host the show, that's fine. That's okay by me, but I'm just not going to do that. They knew I was serious, Kimmel said. I just couldn't live with myself. And he said this isn't the first time that Kimmel has expressed willingness to lose millions of viewers for ABC. He told the Daily Beast about 4 years ago that he has no interest in appealing to Trump voters following the gun control initiatives, healthcare initiatives. Remember, he did this whole emotional thing where he talked about, well, my kid has a health condition, and people who don't support universal healthcare are bad people because my kid's going to die. He literally did that on his show, by the way, late night comedy. He said, not good riddance, but riddance to Trump voters. Yeah, he said. So this whole thing goes on about, like I said, how he used to be a very popular guy, how late night TV used to be pretty popular with people back in the day, but now it's been taken over by ideologues and people who are just absolutely detestable. So the audience has just completely gone away. No one's really watching late night TV anymore because guys like this are in charge. So I actually start with Rick here because I want your insight. You may have a bit more insight on the world of late night TV than some of the other guys here. What is kind of your thoughts here on just the decline of late night TV in general? Do you blame guys like Kimmel, or do you blame somebody else for the way things have gone here?
No, I blame people like Kimmel and Colbert and Myers. I actually feel for Jimmy Fallon. I've always gotten the sense that he was kind of dragged kicking and screaming into participating in all this ever since he tussled Trump's hair. And he doesn't strike me as this rabid partisan, but I think it doesn't go back to him. It goes back to Jon Stewart. I remember when the Daily Show was just mocking the idea of the news shows, and they would play clips of these news reports from local stations that were just kind of bizarre. But ever since they went from Craig Kilborn to Jon Stewart turned it into a liberal left wing cheer fest, and from that spun others of the other programs. You go back to other shows like you know we all remember. Well, I don't think we all remember, but we all know of Johnny Carson. Hopefully, and he was able to make fun of all sides, and at the same time, he had as guests on his show both Bobby Kennedy and Richard Nixon, not on the same night, but he wasn't even able to make Nixon laugh, which is a surprise.
Yeah.
But he was nonpartisan. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure he had his political views, but he kept them off the screen. Now it just seems that all of these shows and all of these hosts think that it's their whole reason of being is to try to convert you or to cheer you on. I think somebody made fun of the fact that Stephen Colbert had as his guest like the former uh, like Senator Warren and the former
I mean,
Secretary of
yeah,
Energy.
he's had pretty much every major Democrat on his show the last few
A-
years.
And really, nobody's going to watch that unless you're really partisan and you need some kind of fix to get your political opinions validated in some way. That's not the point of these late night shows. At least it wasn't. If you're going to turn them into de facto propaganda shows, just be open and honest about it and say, this is what my show is not about entertaining. My show is about indoctrinating, cheering, being de facto promotions for certain candidates, and just be done with it. But it's a shame. I've always thought it was a terrible mistake to have pushed Nightline from its original slot to accommodate Kimmel, because
Hmm.
now we're getting that Light Line was pushed like way late. Nobody's gonna watch that and stay up late to watch it.
No.
My view is that Kimmel is not only doing a terrible disservice, he's also going to be a lousy host. And he struck
Yeah.
me as very thin-skinned. Kind of going a little bit on a tangent here. He mocked among other people. He mocked Christian Toto, who I think all of us know
Oh yeah.
or have dealt with, and he's really one of the nicest people, probably nicer than any of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
love Christian.
Christian's great dude.
he mocked him well a little bit by calling him like a crazy uncle. He was like the crazy uncle sight who was
Yeah.
was making fun of him. But Kimmel didn't seem to really focus on the fact that I think Variety also thought that having him as a host again was a lousy decision. And there are other people that I follow on Twitter who are on the left, and they ask for comments about him hosting, and a lot of them were like, "Oh, this is boring. It's a safe choice. He's not going to be very good." So he doesn't. He wants to make it. Oh, they're opposing me because of politics. No, it's because not a lot of people think he's funny. And to add to that, um, he hasn't been funny in a long time because he just doesn't he doesn't have that. What is his big shtick? What's his big deal? Why do people really think is funny? I've said many times, jokes are fine. Trump jokes are fine. I mean, we make them here. We everyone's made them, but he wasn't making Trump jokes. He was just bashing him and going on rants and going on tangents about him.
Yep.
It's like
And like I said, it wasn't just Trump too. He was going after directly the voters as well. So
exactly. So of course, people, if you insult your audience, of course they're going to turn their backs on you, and they're not going to care. I mean, they'll be fine. I haven't seen a late night show in years, decades, probably because I just don't think that they're funny. I mean, the last one I saw was Conan O'Brien back in the day.
Yeah.
I haven't. I mean, that was before when he was on late night, not when he tried to do the Tonight Show. So why am I going to care? But
I mean,
that's
to be fair, none of them have ever come close to Johnny Carson since
Yeah.
Right.
Johnny
of
Carson.
course. Yeah.
go back on YouTube and watch the whole Johnny Carson and Ronnie Dangerfield bits. It's hilarious.
Well, and Johnny Carson's great. I love Johnny Carson. I personally also love Dick Cavett, who does a sort of late night talk show that isn't done anymore at all. I mean, the sort of like you bring celebrities on and kind of get in-depth conversations going on. Sometimes you get celebrities get drunk and whatever and have fun, but that's the whole thing. Like we're talking about Jimmy Kimmel, I guess, in general, but he's going to be the next host of the Oscars. Like Ricky Gervais insulting celebrities to their faces, that's what people would want to see. If you're trying to get people to tune in, like making fun of celebrities to their faces is exactly like I want to see that. I want to engage with that because it's funny and that's how you get the public to tune in. Like by taking the piss out of yourselves and make fun of yourselves a bit. But it's like they're so far removed from that, they don't want to go back. And, you know,
I feel like
it's a talentless and bland individual is Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
That's why he's chosen,
Yep.
because he's free of controversy and he's not going to ruffle any feathers, and he'll say the line and get to the next presenter. That's it.
Well,
Yeah.
this is going to be interesting because Dave Chappelle is hosting SNL again. And this is going to be after
I
Amy
seen that.
Schumer did with that botched abortion joke. Oh, my God. Oh, but
I mean,
they need to give Ricky Gervais a late night thing. Either that or hell, give Arsenio fucking Jimmy Kimmel spot.
Bring back Craig Ferguson.
people that were actually
He walked
funny.
away.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Dave Chappelle-
he
may have been.
they were getting.
Yeah, he may have been the smart one in that whole debacle. So
if Dave Chappelle didn't want to keep his sanity, I'd be like, please just give Dave Chappelle a late night show host. But he wants to keep his sanity, unfortunately.
Exactly.
yeah, I want to go ahead, Cassie.
They'll never give anyone with any balls a late night show. That's just the reality of the situation. I mean, like who would come close to like Johnny Carson when Zsa Zsa Gabor, whatever the fuck her name is, asked if he wanted to pet her pussy, and he's like, yeah, sure, move the cat.
Again, I would say like
It's gonna come close to some crazy shit like that.
You know, space ghost to coast kind of shit.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. It's never gonna come close to that. So late night can eat a bag of dicks. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to read this to you guys real quick because this is actually something that I wrote a couple years back. Let me see if I can blow it up here just for a second. This is going back to 2019, and at the time, Jay Leno, who before he retired was kind of the king of late night. You look back at his ratings; he was beating Letterman for a long time there. And I like Leno too. Like I know a lot of people are not big fans of Leno, but I liked Leno's show back in the day. And
His chin was his crown.
and his cars. Don't forget the cars. But he was talking about in an interview here how he doesn't like what late night TV has become, and this was like 4 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, where he says, you know, everyone has to know your politics. Leno said, I tried to use the Johnny's model, and I would get hate mail from both sides equally, and I thought that was fabulous. That's exactly what I want. But when people see that you're one-sided, it makes it tough. And you know, I did it when Clinton was horny, Bush was dumb, and it was a lot easier back then. He says that because, you know, in theory, when we did the show, you just watch the news. We'll make fun of the news and get your mind off the news. Well, now people want the news to be on all the time. You just have one subject, and that's your same topic every night. It makes it very hard. I mean, all the comics, Jimmy Colbert and everybody else, it's tough when it's only one topic out there. Now it's all very serious. I just like to see a little bit of civility come back to it. Now, that was comments that he made years ago, by the way. And then I want to go back to, let me see if I can find this right here, because this was a follow-up. Because when Leno made those comments, which I think everyone can agree is pretty reasonable, he didn't say anything outlandish in that statement, but when he made those comments, the people who he was talking about decided to come after him. And one of them being Mr. Kimmel. Shocker. Kimmel involved once again. He said that Kimmel defended himself after being accused of being obsessed with negativity about Donald Trump, and of course he doubled down. Keep in mind, this is 2019, so here's what Kimmel had to say back then. He says, I don't want to talk about Donald Trump every night. None of us do. Well, you just kind of admitted that was a lie. None of us who host these shows do, but he gives us no choice. If he sat in the White House every day quietly working on things, I would almost never mention him because it's not interesting. Sure he wouldn't. But before 10 a.m., before 10 o'clock this morning, his former campaign chairman was sent into prison for the second time this week. He called himself the most successful president in history. He tweeted to let people know that his wife has been replaced by a body double. Am I not supposed to mention that? Obama wore mom jeans one time, and we made jokes about it for 6 straight years. That's often lie that they repeat. They make it seem like the tan suit was like Obama's like big scandal, when literally no one brought that up but themselves. He says, how about you do this? Stop being terrible and we'll stop pointing it out. Then I think there was somebody else who commented on this too. I'm not sure if I have it on here, but I think even John Oliver slammed Leno for speaking out kind of about this whole thing as well. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I have it right here. Yep, Mr. John Oliver, who's another hack, just to throw it out there. But keep in mind, this is all responding to Leno saying that, hey, maybe you guys are just being too big of dicks. So Oliver says, because in theory, when we did the show that was just all news. Oh, no, wait, that was Leno's statement. I want to go to Colbert's. He says, it was a different time when Leno was hosting. Now there's one subject, so people can see your politics more, and we're fine with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that this person is doing to our families and our nation is horrible. This is what Stephen Colbert said about Leno's comments. And then Oliver went as far as to say that if that's what he means by civility, may I offer him a book? Oh, look, the places you can go fuck yourself, Jay Leno. Look how civil I'm being. Look how civil this is. So you had all of these late night quote unquote comedians came out and trashed Leno by saying, "Hey, maybe go back to just being funny and entertaining rather than just bitching about Trump 24/7." They were all like, "How dare you, Leno? What the fuck do you know about late night television?" So that's
this is why I think that Fallon was dragged to doing this.
yeah.
He was not political. He seemed to stay pretty much away from that. He even had that infamous moment where he tussled Trump's hair, and he was
Got shit
so
for it.
bashed for it. And now he decided to join in and all the anti-Trump thing. But the thing is, these are the people who can't let Trump go. I really don't know anyone who is this obsessed with Trump, and they don't have to make jokes all the time about him. And they're not even jokes; they're commentary. It's political commentary. We've had that with Jon Stewart and Trevor Noah and Samantha Bee and John Oliver and Kimmel and Colbert and Myers. What is the end point for all of them? Is it to try to convert me? If I'm watching at 11:30 or 12:30, I'm going to be watching Seth Meyers go on make Trump commentary and say, "Oh well, definitely, I won't vote for him now. I'll now vote for Joe Biden. I didn't vote for either."
Seth Meyers sucks. He was a shit replacement for Eric Foreman. So
Yeah, like nobody likes Seth Meyers. Rob, what's Norm's joke on Seth Meyers? You remember? This is the old joke he
Norm
did on.
Macdonald?
Yeah, Norm Macdonald did a joke about Seth Meyers on an interview. I think it was like HuffPo. He was like, when I look at comedy, I think to myself, it's like, what would Seth Meyers do? That's what I think of when I think of comedy. It was like a really sarcastic
Right.
tone.
It was a fantastic swipe, like in a passive aggressive way, where it was just like, when I think of the great comic minds, Seth Meyers really comes into view. Kind of, basically like, why would I ever give a shit what Seth Meyers has to say or think about comedy?
Dude,
Or
I never knew
politics,
that.
or any
Man,
of that.
it's so random, but I love it. Norm Macdonald was awesome.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald's fucking
These
great.
hosts, if these hosts want to call themselves comedy shows when they're actual political commentary shows, uh, I think they should just be honest and say, we're all going to be all politics, all one sided, and just be done with it. But none of them are comedy shows. None of them are funny. If Kimmel's trying to make it sound like, oh, they didn't want to. They didn't want me to make jokes. No, it's not jokes. You're not making jokes. You're making commentary, and your hosting hasn't been successful. I mean, there was that some sort of controversy when he kind of crashed an Emmy winner's speech by just laying on the ground and drawing attention to himself,
Yeah.
and now he's going to host the Oscars. He's not been a particularly great host, and we haven't had a good host in a long time for the
Maybe
Oscars.
they're saving money this way.
And of course, of course, it doesn't hurt that it's an ABC show. It's an ABC special for the Oscars, and so of course they're going to hire the ABC host to be the host of the Academy Awards, which have been going down in ratings. Trust me, no one is going to say, "Oh, we got Kimmel back let's go watch to see if Black Panther wins 12 Oscars, which
And
he
in
will.
all honesty, and I know like Jay like doesn't want to just go back to the way late night anymore, but if Jay Leno came back like tomorrow and did a late night show, he would probably get better ratings than all these guys combined. If
Oh,
he
hell
could come
yeah,
back
dude.
tomorrow, he wouldn't even have to like do anything extravagant. He just do the same
No.
shit that he was doing 10, 15 years ago, and it was still
Literally
outdraw
like you
what the
never
fuck's going
watched.
on now. Like it's sad.
Yeah,
Any
I
any
will say
final?
like,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, okay. So I'll say this, like, I think after like a lot of these people have been on TV for a really long time too, and I
Hmm.
think at some point it just becomes tiresome.
Yeah.
They, the same old stuff, and it's really hard to be on top of your game all the time for long, like, and be able to make a career out of it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even like PewDiePie is somebody that I think of with this is like he's
Oh
had
yeah.
to change and do so much weird stuff just to keep people interested. But I mean, like he's still like the king of YouTube or something, so
Yep.
kudos to him. So there is just a point where I think it people just want something anyway. And I can't imagine anybody's really going to be scrambling to watch the Oscars with Jimmy Kimmel, like Rick said.
No. No, not
I
at
don't think
all.
I've ever watched the Oscars ever.
Well, I tried to get Rob
Well,
to do a Oscar stream, and he was like, he just wants to suffer alone. So I don't think he wants to do a co-op stream. Even though I offered him beer, I mean, I offered him a drink, but you know,
My
In
tolerance
terms of
for
late night
alcohol
hosts,
is very low.
well, I do
So
want to say this in terms of late night hosts. Like, I think the only one that's been consistent is Bill Maher, which is hard to believe. But Bill Maher has always stood
Oh
by
yeah,
what
shit,
he
I remember
believes
that guy.
in. And I give him, I don't agree with him on everything, but man, I have to give him mad respect for him for sticking by what he believes in.
right,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that guy was still
Even though these
alive.
woke, even though these woke liberals keep on attacking him for what he believes in, and these people are like left of him, and he stands by what he says, and he's not letting these people bring him down. So I got to give him mad props for that.
Yeah, do you know who Bill Maher? I mean, Bill Maher is basically modeled after Johnny Carson. He a lot about Bill Maher. I mean, he has his own flair and style and taste, but he very much copies how he does his show and the model for it on Johnny Carson, Late Night with Johnny Carson, because he was
Yeah.
a lifelong fan of him.
Because I remember like his show would be on TV, and I would like it would used to be on TV like at night. I would like skim
Oh,
through
politically incorrect.
Yeah, ABC.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was it. It was like, it was like I would skim through it. I was like, sometimes there was like nothing else on, I would just like leave it on. But most times I would just skim through it if I was trying to look for something else to watch.
okay, so if I was in charge of the Oscars hosting, like if I got to pick, I would pick Macaulay Culkin, I think. So
if I was in charge of the Oscars, I would hire a private security team. Be like, anyone who comes to this stage is getting shot on sight. So, and then make sure you have the red lights on them too to make sure that you're serious. Fire a warning shot if you have to as well. You know,
See,
we're
I
gonna
could
get through the
never
show.
bring myself to watch the Oscars, even before this whole political shtick.
You really gotta be a fan of movie if you're gonna watch 3.5 hours of that shit. It's just the way that it is.
So you're saying
Yeah.
I'm the only one who gets excited about best live action short
Yes.
film? I can't believe that. I can't believe that. There must be another person who was excited to see Riz Ahmed finally win for making a music
Ooh.
video.
They have to have a
Exactly.
really good host for
TW's
the
response
Oscars.
perfect.
It has to be a really good show. Like, it has to be like have a really good like flow going on. It has to have like good performances. It can't be this bull crap music. It has to be like music that's like getting nominated or something. That's when it's a really good Oscars.
So I can't believe that people here were not eager to find out if Drive My Car was going to win Best Director over Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. So I'm just disappointed in this group. You feel
Oh, okay. No, you're talking about a different. You're talking about a different thing. I was thinking of dude who like dude, where's my car?
I actually was thinking that was what he meant too.
Awesome. That won an award. Yeah, I'm gonna
Drive
use
my
school.
car. Drive my car.
There,
A
there you go.
3-hour Japanese language film that got
Yeah,
Oh,
Best
okay. Well,
Picture,
yeah.
Aston Kutcher
Best Picture,
can
and the
show
Best
up.
Director nomination, and I think it won Best Foreign Language or no International Feature. They've changed the name to Best International Feature. It's on Criterion, people. Go.
Yeah, foreign is
Gotcha.
problematic. You can't say foreign anymore.
Oh, yeah, the only thing I can stand to hear in like nothing but Japanese is the Yakuza games.
I agree with that. Quick little update here with our election process right now. So the fuck shit is already beginning because both the state of Arizona and Nevada have already made the announcement that they will not count the final tally of all of their votes until Wednesday. And in Maricopa County, the county of all the fuck shit that's been going on today, they have now announced that they don't expect to have 99% of their ballots counted until Friday. So somehow the state of Florida managed to count like 8 to 9 million votes in like 3 hours, but all these states out
Whoa.
west can't count a couple million votes in less than a week.
Well, math is
Apparently,
racist,
so
Jacob. Come on.
That's weird because according to political polls, which is a fantastic Twitter account, as of 11 minutes ago, Hobbs, who's the Democrat for Arizona governor, was leading by 10 points, and that's with 39% of the vote in. And the Democrat incumbent for Senate, Kelly, was leading by 15 points, and that's 42% of the vote in. So something really sus going on.
oh yeah. And then another thing, we're talking about the Georgia one now. Keep in mind, none of the major networks have called it for Kemp yet, but he's at that danger point. And by danger point, I'm saying that he's currently up by 350,000 votes, but that was the same amount that Trump had at midnight until he slowly started losing the lead there. So, and even CNN did this whole thing. It's like, well, keep in mind, Biden came back hours after election day, so keep in mind. So it's like, okay, here we go again. So
This is
Well,
the
again, I'm going
problem
to point
that
out this is the numbers I have here for Kemp. As of 16 minutes ago, he has a 9-point lead with 71% of the vote in.
Well,
it's the delays that are going to cause people to question it.
yeah.
It's not. I don't think that there's any shady business personally, but it's the delays where you tell people no, you vote and the official vote election day is on a Tuesday, but we won't have the results until Wednesday or until Friday.
There used to be a time in this country where we got the election results within a few hours of election day, and now we've started to normalize that. Hey, even though it's election day, you won't know the winner until about another week after the election. But don't get upset. That's just normal process now. When it's not normal process. Like I said, Florida just counted like how many votes have they counted in Florida already? Like they're at 7.5 million votes since 7 o'clock in Florida, the entire state.
Yeah, and Florida always used to fumble the ball, and it's like, how is it that Florida is doing their shit right and you guys can't? And what's crazy is it's like, Rick brings up a very, very firm point. The reason why people think it's sus is because it takes too long with all these weird delays. You think that the answer would be, well, we're going to make sure that the election from now on is going to be as efficient as possible in order to avoid anybody thinking anything is sus. And it's like, no, we want to normalize the concept of election fucking week, month, year, whatever it takes to flip it the way that we want it to be.
And here's the thing, as Cassie pointed out, I think it was in 2000. It was when Florida was seen as this chaotic, disastrous election, and they obviously learned their lesson. They fixed whatever needed to be fixed. They made whatever reforms needed to be done. Arizona has apparently not learned that lesson, and ironically enough, I think the person that will be elected the governor of Arizona is the Secretary of State who is supposed to oversee the elections. So she's being rewarded for her incompetence, I suppose. But yes, this is a reason that people get these ideas about fraud and and shady dealings because it takes so long. It gives them that opportunity.
And it shouldn't take long. And that's the whole concept. It's like it should not take Maricopa County a week to count the votes in the state of Arizona. There's not that many people in the state of Arizona for it to require a week. It should not take 3 days to count the votes in the state like Nevada. There's not that many people out there. These are desert communities. They should have their results up just like that. And they're telling you, no, wait till about Thursday and Friday, then we'll figure out exactly what's going to happen. Like remember when Nevada 2 years ago was all like, yeah, we counted about 30 votes today. I think we're going to call it a day and come back tomorrow and count some more votes. And it's like, why is it taking you so long to count the fucking votes in this state?
Go to the next Cirque du Soleil show over on the Strip. That's why.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, keep an eye on your state, people. That's all I'm saying, because the fuck shit is already beginning. As of right now, Kemp is still up by 300,000 votes, with 83% of the people called there. And then I think Herschel Walker at the moment, it's up by about 40,000 with the same amount, 83%. So yeah, keep an eye on your states, people, because they're if they got away with it once, they wouldn't at least try to do it again. That's
what's New York looking like?
I can actually figure that out right now. As far as I'm pretty sure you're talking about the governor one, right?
Yeah, we already know that Schumer won.
With 50% of the vote in New York right now, the Democrat is leading 60.7%. So yeah, she's up by about 650,000 votes right now, with half the vote counted in New York. So
yeah.
How is it that Lee Zeldin was leading in the polls yet not leading in votes?
Don't trust the polls. Polls are full of shit.
Yeah.
If 2016 taught us anything, it's that polls are full of shit.
And if 2022 taught you anything, don't even trust the votes, because you could be leading. But it's like you could be leading by 400,000 votes by the time you can wake up. You're losing. It's like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, that's true.
New York City will go, tilt the state.
Yeah,
they had a mass exodus in New York City.
Yeah, everyone's in Florida now. Yeah. All right, guys, let's go to our closer for the day. And our closer is Sylvester Stallone, unhappy with how things have went with the Rocky franchise, because it seems like he's been squeezed out. Now, Sylvester Stallone is almost 80 years old. He's still rocking and kicking with action movies and things of that nature, but it looks like he's lost the keys to his baby, which is the Rocky franchise. So, if you guys... Wait, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, how the hell do you squeeze Rocky out of Rocky? What a joke.
Because
I guess technically it's not Rocky,
people,
but it's like Creed or whatever.
That's why.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we really don't need you anymore. So, speaking of Michael B. Jordan, he's actually directing the upcoming Creed movie, which was supposed to come out this year. Then MGM decided to push it back 3 months. So, Creed should have already have been out, but now that's not going to happen until 2023. And Michael B. Jordan is going to be acting and directing in the film that's coming out in about 3 months in March. But Sylvester Stallone seems like he's out of it. He's out of all things Rocky. Now, if you remember earlier this year, he got into a public spat with Dolph Lundgren, because apparently they approached Dolph about doing like what's his character in Rocky? Is blanking on my mind right now. Drago. Yeah, they wanted to do a Drago series, but they wanted to do the series without Sylvester Stallone, which he didn't like, and him and Dolph are friends, so he thought that Dolph may have been trying to stab him in the back, but Dolph eventually backed out like the whole thing, so that didn't happen. But he goes on to talk about Stallone about his fact that he's not going to be involved in Creed 3 that's coming out. Stallone's exit from Rocky was apparently not a happy one because of the things that he said. Following Stallone's first announcement that Creed 2, after 8 films, that he was officially done playing Rocky Balboa, it sounded like he simply had made the decision to hang it up. However, since then, we've heard that Stallone's decision had a lot to do with the stuff that behind the scenes battles over the rights to the Rocky franchise. In fact, Stallone calls not being in Creed 3 a regretful decision. Over the last few years, he has shared his public frustrations about the fact that the franchise that he has helmed for 45 years, despite writing and directing the original Rocky, he doesn't own the rights to the character. It sounds like Stallone would have been willing to return if things were done differently. he goes on to make the statement here. He says that that it's a regretful decision because I know what could have been, what was taken in a direction that is quite different than what I would have taken it. It's a different philosophy. He's talking about Iron Winkler and Michael B. Jordan, who's doing Creed 3. I wish them well, but I'm more of a sentimentalist. I like my heroes getting beat up, but I don't like them going to that dark place. I feel people have enough darkness in their life. So it seems like they wanted to take the direction of this franchise to a direction that he didn't want to go, but they pretty much squeezed him out of his own franchise because that's just how Hollywood works now. Instead of working with the people who made them the money makers, it's like, no, we control your IPs now. We control your franchises. We're going to do what we want because it's 2022, and then we just do shit like that now. And Stallone says that his decision to leave came after he wanted to make another movie in the franchise. Stallone calls another Rocky movie possible when talking about 3 Creed, although there is talks a few years back that the actual Rocky film would have seen Stallone character as lead. Stallone asks to get back so the rights to the character as part of the deal to reprise his role. This was apparently a non-starter with the studio, which is MGM, which is obviously now owned by Amazon. So Stallone chose to simply walk away from the project. Yeah, they just go on to say that Creed 3 comes out in March 2023. Obviously, Stallone is very frustrated that the studio doesn't respect his legacy with the franchise, and apparently he wanted to go in a direction he didn't approve of. We've heard this story so many times over the last few years about people being squeezed out, about fans being squeezed out, creators being squeezed out because the studio wants their own agenda. They want to do their own thing, even if it spits in the face of everyone who was involved in making these things popular in the first place. I want to start with Cassie here because you are our classic movie buff here. How do you feel about MGM essentially squeezing out Sylvester Stallone out of the Rocky franchise?
Well, so the main issue with this whole situation is essentially that Erland Winkler, the producer of the original Rocky, he's the one that has essentially made Sylvester Stallone's life absolute hell in regards to um, Sylvester Stallone's creative vision in regards to the Rocky franchise. Because of Erland Winkler and I believe his kids, his 2 sons, I think, um, they've stopped a sequel after Rocky Balboa from being made that Stallone wanted to get behind and do. Like his creative vision essentially is being stunted. Sylvester Stallone also wanted to do a prequel to Rocky that involves Rocky way back before basically when he was young man. And they creatively he wanted to helm that, and he has been stopped. So Sylvester Stallone for years has been legally fighting for a small piece of the pie, at least on a creative level, when it comes in regards to the franchise and where it goes, because he has ideas and he would like to bring them to, if it be the big screen or television, and they have stunted him from being able to do that. And in my opinion, without Sylvester Stallone, Rocky is nothing. He's directed, written, and starred in pretty much all the Rocky movies. I think he just didn't direct Rocky 5, if memory serves me correct.
I think that
the
was
Heart
the one
and
he
Soul.
didn't do.
Yeah, he didn't direct 1.
Or yeah, the first one. Yeah.
So he
He
starred wrote the first one,
Mm-hmm.
and then 5.
You sure he
I
didn't
don't think.
direct the first one?
Yes, because John J.
Avildsen.
Avildsen won Best
Yeah.
Director for that.
Yeah,
You're right.
So, but in
I'm going
regards
to
to
Voodoo right now to check.
yeah, I think it's 1 and 5 he didn't direct, if I'm not mistaken, but he's written and starred in all of them. In my opinion, he is the absolute heart and soul of the Rocky franchise. And I think it is pretty disgusting that he can't at least have some sort of ownership, if it be in the tiniest margin, so that there could be a creative direction with the person that has made Rocky such a great character, one that even me, someone who clearly doesn't look or isn't the same gender, isn't a boxer, none of that shit. I can resonate with Rocky because of Sylvester Stallone's amazing writing and his vision for the character. And it seems as though at this point, Sylvester Stallone kind of sees the writing on the wall with this shit. And I'm glad that he has spoken up about it when he did kind of raise a big fuss. I did make a video. Is Rick dying?
Are you still laughing at the Wakanda Forever joke that Josh told like 5 minutes ago?
No, I'm reacting to Johnson's tweet that I finally saw.
Oh my god! But yeah, it's like it's sad that it's going this way, because I honestly, if anything, Rocky doesn't get Stallone's stamp of approval, I don't give a fuck about it, because I do hold him in high regard to the franchise and the character, like specifically. And this is Hollywood as we know it, man. Even, you know, one of the greatest of our time, arguably, can't seem to get what I think he really deserves. Without Sylvester Stallone, there is no Rocky from every like important aspect of it. It's crazy to me that Rocky was able to every film, even 5, and 5 isn't really, I don't really like 5 that much, but you can't argue the fact that there's a reason for 5 to exist. Rocky still has a purpose in 5. Every iteration of the Rocky franchise, Rocky has a purpose. Rocky has a struggle that is resonatable with the general public, and that's really a testament to Sly Stallone being able to reach the common person, despite him being, you know, rich, famous, all that. You know, it's kind of a rare quality within Hollywood, and it's sad that this person with this rare quality to be able to resonate with us regular people is being pushed out of one of the greatest franchises ever in cinema and action cinema, really.
Yeah, because
I mean,
studios are fucking dumb.
I'll say this: I took the Rocky movies for granted growing up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I find them entertaining. But I rewatched the original this past 4th of July, and I realized it's a different movie than the rest of them, especially in the sense of like this guy who's like, you know what? I have this one chance to try for something great in my life, and I'm going to give it everything I've got. And, you know, like watching that, especially a little older now, I can really respect and I really appreciate what that movie's saying. And I still really like the sequels, but I'm surprised these movies are still going. I'm surprised they kind of got a second wind with, and I still haven't watched them, to be honest, the Creed movies. Or the, you know,
to be honest, the second win was really Rocky Balboa, the movie.
Yeah, no,
and it's like Creed is like the third wind, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
I thought it was going to end.
He should never have done the Creed movies. I mean, the Creed movies honestly shouldn't have been done because Rocky Balboa was a definitive ending for him.
Yeah, that's what sucks is that they sort of reopened Pandora's box, or they sort of opened the door. And it's like they're like, we're kind of done. So if you could go away, even though
it's basically them going
responsible person for this, you know.
It's basically them going, yeah, Michael B. Jordan's our star now. He's our Rocky, so we don't need you anymore. So it's like, good luck with that, I guess.
He's the visionary behind it. I don't think anybody is going to ever hold a candle to Sly Stallone's involvement with Rocky Balboa. Like when I do rewatch the original Rocky, honestly, when he's at that scene where he comes home after visiting the boxing ring and he tells Adrian, I can't beat him, I can't win. I just want to go the distance with Creed just to prove for once in my life that I'm not a bum. Like watching that scene genuinely makes me cry. And a lot of people take for granted that Sylvester Stallone's genuinely a really good fucking actor. Like he can convey emotion in ways a lot of actors really can't. In an action movie, this guy makes me fucking cry. Like it's pretty crazy how he's capable of that. Another film that he really kind of has that same sentiment is at the end of First Blood. Like his little thing where he says at the end, like that shit really gets to you, man. Like he knows how to connect with an audience, and I think that they genuinely are really taking that for granted. It doesn't matter how old Sly Stallone is. That is a rare quality that has not left him all these decades.
Well, I got to bring this up too real quick, is that it's kind of like with what's happening with Harrison Ford. And Indiana Jones, unfortunately, it's gotten away. It's the series has gotten taken away from him, and now there's a series coming out on Disney Plus. Hopefully, he's not going to be part of it because I
Because
don't
we
think
didn't
he can
have the
last
Young
that much
Indiana Jones
longer.
Chronicles. Yeah, we've all forgotten the Young Indiana Jones
Yeah.
Chronicles of that. But when it comes to Rocky, I've always felt that Rocky was the perfect film for the perfect or edit for the perfect time. It was 1976. We were coming up to the bicentennial. We had just gone through Vietnam and Watergate, and so we had this story of this scrappy, uh, man who was not considered successful and who was going to have this one chance for glory, for redemption. It's almost not quite spiritual. I saw the movie as part of the Best Picture retrospective that I did, and I was really amazed. And I've also known that when it was first released at the actual climatic boxing match, if I understand from William Friedkin, who was asked about it for an AFI special, audiences were cheering and they were literally shouting "Rocky, Rocky!" They were that involved because they identified with him. You have that montage, "Gonna Fly Now." When you have him running, you do get emotional because you see everything about it. You see, he's in the perfect place, Philadelphia, the
I mean,
birthplace.
we were talking about a city like Philadelphia that has a statue of Rocky. He's not even a real person. That's how big of an impact he has on that city. So it's like, yeah,
It's a perfect film for that time. It was the one that that got to you emotionally. Even me, it got to me. I've liked all the Rocky films except for five, and maybe Balboa should have been the end. We all thought it was the end. With Creed, I kind of could go with the first one. I've not seen the second one. I have not seen the third one, but I think at a certain point, if they wanted to push him out, it's sad because he's the one. There would be no Creed without Rocky.
Yeah.
Apologies to Muhammad Ali, who interrupted his Oscar presentation and started shouting, "I'm the real Apollo Creed."
Before every Eagles game, before every Philadelphia Eagles game, they play that stupid fucking song.
Gonna Fly Now?
Well, no, it's just
Yeah.
the rock, basically Rocky music. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yes, that, and it's like it's fine. No, because I have more appreciation for it now that I've seen the movie as an adult and like it. But yes, Philadelphia is yeah. You can have it's fine. You can have Rocky, but just like, oh god, it's such an embarrassing town to be associated with.
Well, if you even go back to the opening of the first Rocky, it opens with a sample of that theme, but it opens up when you literally the first thing you see is an image of
Jesus Christ.
Exactly, as he's almost metaphorically blessing all of this, and you do get wrapped up in it because you do like Rocky, you do identify with him. This is not an intelligent man, an articulate man, but this is a man who has passion and conviction and is determined to take this one chance, and he's going to go for it. So you do care for him, and you do care for Adrian and for Mickey as well. So you do get wrapped up in it. To see him kind of pushed aside to have Creed take the center stage, well, it's unfortunate. It's a disservice, but what can be done about it?
Yeah, and I just need to say this real quick because I know it won Best Picture over two movies that I do have a respect for Rocky. It won over Network and it won over Taxi Driver, two of the greatest films of all time. Now, you can personally think Rocky is one of the greatest films of all time. I will never argue that. Okay, it's a very good movie, but just like I'm sorry, like that year was a killer. By the way, 1976, the 77 Oscars is that what it won. But yeah, that always kills me, and now I have a newfound respect for Rocky, so it makes it even harder.
I just had to see somebody just showed this to me on Twitter. Meek Mill has a 2018 New England Patriots championship ring. Why? Who gave that to him? He's a rapper from Philly. Why does he have a Patriots championship ring? Was somebody down bad and sold this shit on eBay? Like, how did that happen? Well, in other news, just real quick to update you on the election, CNN has now officially called the race for Brian Kemp. So Stacey Abrams has officially lost the election for the second time in a row. So a two-time loser, Stacey Abrams, can go back to playing the president of Earth on Star Trek, because she will not be the governor of this state. The Senate race is still neck and neck right now. At the moment, Walker is up by 31,000 with 86% votes in. So that one's going to go down to the wire. I highly doubt they're going to call anything for that one tonight, but just keep an eye on that one. And then in Ohio, I think, was it JD Vance? Is that his name?
Yep.
He's the guy who just won the Senate in Ohio as well. So we know that that's not going to make the Wokies happy that he's won. So right now, like I said, knock on wood, but it looks like the Democrats are not doing very well at the moment now.
That's interesting for Ohio.
We're not going to hear the end of it then.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy from Hillbilly Elegy.
That's right.
Yep.
So
The little fat kid from Hillbilly Elegy is now in the Senate. That's America, guys.
I gotta love it.
Wow.
Hey, if it's any comfort for the Democrats, they will have that stroke affected senator, so he'll probably win.
Oh my God, Fetterman.
Yeah.
Can they just all simultaneously get a
can
fucking
say-
stroke?
So we can say, so every guy, he'll start with "Hi, good night, everybody," and
Yeah, I think he's gonna win. I'm
he
sorry
will.
to say this. I
I
think
think
gonna win.
yeah, I think he's gonna win too. I don't see.
That's technically a pickup for the Democratic Party, because it's being held by a Republican right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Pat Toomey's seat?
That's Pat Toomey, yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, the Democrats will still hold the Senate, unless, of course, unless Walker and was it Blake Masters and Laxalt in Nevada, unless they manage to win, which Laxalt might. I think that's his name in Nevada. He might win. Masters might, but I mean it's pretty much. I have no way of knowing.
I will say
America
this:
was designed to withstand tyranny. So
we were designed. Hopefully, we keep it that way. I just want to say this real quick because Orange Chat did have to leave, but I did leave the link to his YouTube channel in the chat. So go ahead, subscribe to Orange Chat Reviews if you guys haven't done that already. He has a lot of good content on his channel about movie reviews, classic movies, new movies, stuff like that. So subscribe to him if you haven't already. So hopefully
he's
we'll
been
get him
doing a
back
lot
here
of good
next week.
news stuff too lately. I've noticed. So
Yeah, and also, he's been picking up stuff pretty well there. So hopefully we'll see more of him later on. But is there any other news here about the Sylvester Stallone series before we kind of wrap things up?
I just feel kind of bad for him because I know he wrote Rocky and he wanted to star in it. He had to sell his dog to get something, and he bought his dog back for like $30 million. I know. And I know, like, thanks to Rocky, he's actually had like one major award every decade for like last 7 decades or something.
Yeah.
Especially, I think his latest one was Shark Man or whatever from the Suicide Squad. Shark King Shark.
So Sylvester Stallone is one of the rare actors to have been nominated twice for playing the same character in 2 different films. But he's one of the few that has lost twice.
It's scary to think that even he's kind of like doomed at the the wave of lawyers coming after his IP stuff. So
I heard, this is kind of like a rumor, but I heard that his lawyer that he had to try and get get a piece of the rights to Rocky, I heard that his lawyer fucked him in the process.
Jeez.
Lawyer screwing somebody over? I've never heard about that story before.
I heard the lawyer was low key on the other team the whole time.
Yeah, it's happened in the past.
Allegedly.
Well, we talked about it here. I know it's kind of a bit off topic, but did you guys hear the story about Freddie Freeman of the Braves now with the Dodgers? There was a story that came out about halfway during the season where he found out because he won the World Series with the Braves last year and he wanted to stay, but there was contract negotiation. They didn't know if they can afford him or not. So he ends up signing with the LA Dodgers and goes to Los Angeles. Well, about a few months into the season, he finds out that his agent withheld information from him that if he had known that, he would have stayed with the Braves, and he wanted to stay with the Braves because his family is there, his friends, his community, everyone was there. So had if he had gotten that information, he would have stayed in Atlanta. He would have never left. But because his agent withheld the information, because you get more money with the Dodgers, so take the money. Then when he found that out, he ended up firing his agent 2 months into the season too. So yeah, don't trust the people that are supposed to represent you because they'll still find ways to fuck you over. I think that's the moral of the story. But we are here at the end of the show for the time being. A lot of the East Coast results are starting to pile in right now. It's looking good so far, but we all know what happened when it started to look good this time around. And quick little breaking news here. I know Orange Hat won't be very happy about this, but Katie Hochul has won the New York governor's race, so she will remain governor for the next 4 years in the state of New York. It's not a big shock. I mean, it's New York. It just is what it is at this point. Gavin Newsom just got reelected in California.
No.
What did you expect?
No.
Honestly,
Hold on, that's too fast. No. You are not going to fool me on this, mofo. You cannot reelect Gavin Newsom that fast. I refuse to believe that fucker.
In California, yes.
I know my dude Brad Rules is not going to be happy about the Hochul deal.
I haven't seen it because I didn't see anything on SACB, which I was just on, and I just looked on AP, which I have not seen anything on there either. So, you ain't fooling me with this fuckery. Nah.
Yeah. And then to make matters worse, Razorfish, who we all know is famous from Arizona, just posted saying that they have to run his ballot 5 times because the machines that they're using in his county are absolutely dog garbage. So it seems like the complete shit show we're witnessing right now is the state of Arizona. They cannot figure out what the fuck they're doing there right now. It was supposed to be a close race, but as of this moment, it looks like the Democrat is running away with it, and she's running away with it because they can't fucking count the votes in the county where the majority of the Republicans actually live. So shocker about how that whole thing's coming out.
Stacey Abrams conceded.
Yes, they're playing, man.
She did. What a shock.
Did she concede for the first one or this one?
Hey, it only took her 4 fucking years.
Yeah, but she conceded.
Great. Like I said, I'm not even a big fan of Kemp. There's a lot of problems I have with Kemp, but I much have him running this state than fucking Stacey Abrams. Take that shit back to California. Take Will Ferrell. Take Kerry Washington. Take all those motherfuckers.
Have her go to New York. Don't keep her away from my state, please.
No, as Trump once said, they have to go back.
Yeah, to New York for her. She could stay the fuck away from my state. We have enough fuckery here.
Well, Stacey Abrams and Beto can now kind of do a joint tour of the country. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a job. I know his wife is the daughter of a multi-millionaire or billionaire from El Paso. Of course, they've never had me over to their
Beto O'Rourke is literally one more lost election away from being like the Buffalo Bills of politics at this point. Because I mean, he's almost at 4 straight, and so he might as well try to run again in 2024. Why not? Well, why not at this point?
If people were stupid enough to give him money the first time and then the second time, I'm sure there's people stupid enough to give him money the third time.
They did.
Well, no, this was the third time. This is the third time.
There you go. So I'm sure there's people stupid enough to give him money for the 4th time.
My cat has a better chance of being governor than Beto does.
Yeah, well, you still get money from all this, and then all you have to do when you lose an election is just give your excess money to some charity. If you can write it all off, though, you can write anything off. So it's more of like a lifestyle than it is an actual competition.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like I said, keep an eye on these races because there's a lot of questionable shit happening right now. Let's just put it that way.
I kept telling you, Jacob, it was going to be a blue wave.
Blue wave.
It's going to be a blue wave, and it's still going to stay that way. I've already seen on Twitter that, oh no, I'm positive that the Democrats will hold the House, they'll hold the Senate, they're going to pick up seats, and they already have. They probably picked up Pennsylvania for the Senate.
Well, so far,
I think to Pennsylvania. Like Pennsylvania, I grew up there. It's a very nice blue state in the sense that it's like, I mean, it's obviously centrist and it's probably red now mostly, but like you get a lot of the people that are used to voting blue and they just keep voting blue and it's a big bait and switch. So
this is the same thing here in El Paso.
It's just
El Paso
southern New York at this point.
Yeah, El Paso will keep voting blue, and the one I'm watching is not even those. The local election is the one for 3 bond initiatives. Well, 2 bond initiatives, and I think there was a third one to do something about climate change here in El Paso. The bond initiatives for the streets and the parks, I think, will pass, and El Pasoans will wonder next year, why are my property taxes so high? I want to say because you voted to increase your taxes by approving a bond initiative that would require eventually to have your taxes. Because how do you think the bonds are going to get paid? Oh dear.
Yeah, I was wondering what that blue wave shit was about, and the whatchamacallit, I guess in the barroom podcast chat, because I saw that, like, I got that notification when I was at work. I was like, blue wave. I was like, what the hell is this guy talking?
If you get any political updates for Rick, just completely disregard him. He has no idea what he's talking about. So
what do you mean? I watch MSNBC every night. How dare you, sir?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and then wrap things up here. We're still getting results, but let's go ahead and give everyone their time to shine. Let's start off with our lovely guest, C.S. Johnson. This is where you can promote your crap, so go ahead and give it to him.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Best segue ever.
Best segue ever. I guess it's perfect for election night.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, everybody, give me all your money so I can run for office and get rid of taxes. And
well, we're in the wrong business. Like, we need to just start running for governor. We only have to win, and we can become multimillionaires.
Oh, I think they make you sell your soul first, and I'm sorry I don't have one because it's safe in Jesus Christ, everybody. So, but
I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this in the chat real quick because I saw this. You trying to keep it under wraps, but you're not gonna get away with it here on this channel. We have a book here called "Happily Ever After," written by C.S. Johnson. So
it's my new one. I finally uploaded it tonight. So,
yep.
I will say if you support me on Coffee, I'll get the link for that. You get it early. So it's like Patreon or Subscribestar, except it's called Coffee, and I think that's why it's cute. So
well, we need to meet up one of these days. That way I can just buy your book directly with crypto rather than going through my channel.
You know what? You promised me the crypto, and I'll look into an option for it. So
all right, then here we go. Ethereum, baby, all in.
Oh, I'll look into it.
Joining us from Antifa headquarters is Mr. Rob Motto.
Yeah, that's right. I think they just called it for Patty Murray too. So I think we made it 24 minutes before Tiffany Smiley kind of, petered out there. So yeah, I don't know. Vote Republican the next 4 years at least, because this shit show since COVID's been awful. Yeah, I don't really have anything coming up. You can check out my Twitter. I'm going to get back to writing about movies at some point, but right now I'm just really inundated with my job and using that as a convenient excuse not to put anything out there. So I wish you all a good election night, and hope it's still here in the morning.
Yep. Especially your area. Hopefully they don't start burning down Wendy's or Planned Parenthoods overnight. So
Actually, Portland Antifa was starting to get arrested earlier.
Oh
here we
yeah,
go.
that's a
Yep.
That's about right.
yeah. If you can't afford a gun, I got a tip for you. Just get a wooden broom and then sharpen it into a spear. That way,
Ward off the vampires. Yep.
yeah. All right, then. Joining us from the state that's about to have a brain dead person be their senator is Mr. Cassie Cage. Hi,
Yes.
Miss.
Hey, this should be an improvement over Dementia Joe. So
I mean, both of them are raining their piles of bullshit on me inevitably, right?
If those two put half their brain cells together, they still have half a brain cell.
Yeah, pretty much. But you can find me at YouTube, Cult Classic Cage. Just recently put out a video talking about my, unfortunately, my 50 hours of playing the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and just how annoyingly bad that it is. So you guys
knew
want
that
to
game
hear me
was gonna
rant
be
about
shit.
that? Yeah, I felt like it was too, but I kind of do this thing where I just buy Call of Duty every other year.
I
And
feel you. That's
yeah.
why I don't play games day one. They never turn out right.
Yeah, I can't say I blame you for that. But yeah, if you just want to hear me rant about that, I always got something going on. Probably gonna do a stream, maybe tomorrow, playing some games. So if you guys want to hang out, you're always welcome to. I also have Twitter if you want to talk to me more personally, and yeah, talk about whatever, video games, films, life, yeah, all that stuff. So.
The man who now has to deal with the fact that Beto O'Rourke is now a 3-time loser in his state, Mr. Rick Aragon. How you doing, man? Where they can find more of you?
Well, yeah, they can still find me on my site, Rick's Texan Reviews. You could also find me at Rick's Cafe Texan, and that's my my Twitter. And I really don't have anything big, other than I guess mourning the loss for Beto, third time.
you should dance for him.
I should what?
You should dance for him.
I should, yes, to celebrate,
Maybe that'll make him feel better.
I danced for him when he ran for Senate. That was enough. I do have maybe I'll cover myself by watching the Clintons, An American Odyssey, which I picked up at the dollar store, the $1.25 store, because of inflation. Are
you suicidal, my friend?
No, I'm perfectly fine.
In fact, too much.
I'm fine knowing that the Democrats will hold the House and the Senate. It's unfortunate that they couldn't get the governorship here in Texas, but no, I have nothing to offer. I just worry that my taxes are going to go up next year because El Pasoans apparently have voted to fund roads and fund parks, but not include them in the city budget. That's my concern. So that's all I have to add to this discussion. But congratulations to all the winners. You managed to hold on. There's no red wave. There's nothing. So congratulations to Cassie with her new senator. Congratulations to Rob for holding on to the mommy in tennis shoes, who's been there for 30 years, probably longer than almost as long as his entire life. So, and congratulations to Jacob for I guess not having reelected Stacey Abrams because she won the first time. So
Yes. She's now 1-1, so go again in another 4 years. The woman who is currently door dashing a large bottle of alcohol because she now has to deal with Gavin Newsom as her governor for the next 4 years is Nerdigans. Where can they find more of
This
these
always fucking happens where it's 1% of the ballots. It's me. It's automatically called. I can't stand this fuckery. God damn it.
You know why they do that, in all honesty? It's not that the fact that they've counted the vote. It's like, it's California. They know they're going to win. Like, LA and San Francisco.
Actually, I'm looking at the numbers. It's let's see. It's like 50. It's Let's see. It's 53.5% to 46.5% right now. So,
Woman,
it's
you're denying
1%
the
in.
inevitable.
Well, down like 5,000 votes. Brian Dawley.
It's like, look, L.A. and San Francisco alone is going to win the entire state for Gavin Newsom. Like, they're not going to change their way. You see that.
The thing is, though, with San Francisco hates Gavin Newsom, though. That's the thing that's really confusing me. San Francisco hates him.
Not enough, apparently.
There's a lot of the thing is, though, I need to explain this. A lot of the money that was coming out of the recall for Gavin Newsom came from San Francisco because they fucking hate his ass. That's what people don't understand. You guys could look it up. The good chunk of the money that came for that funded that recall was from San Francisco because they hate it. So that's why I'm like, San Francisco going to win Gavin Newsom this election? Since when? They can't stand his ass. But that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, when it comes to the elections, all those West Coast states, Washington's long gone, Oregon's long gone, California's long gone. If you're in it,
long gone. My state ain't long gone. I refuse to believe
it's over.
Long gone.
It's over.
It's over.
Listen, woman, relive, escape from LA, and get to stepping.
I don't live in LA. I live in Central California. Central California ain't like this.
Well,
like
it's time to move. It's time to move to Idaho.
You want to fun?
Move to Idaho.
Please. I would love it. But my family lives here. I ain't leaving.
Well, tell them to pack up or pack out.
You could live in your own private Idaho.
Woman, I did escape from New York. It's a process.
You can go escape from New York. Do it.
I did. I did.
But I'm not gonna retreat like a coward from my state. I'm gonna fight my ass off up in here. But
okay.
It's not
okay, Martina.
to leave. It's not cowardice to leave something that's burning to the fucking ground.
Where I'm living, it's not burning to the fucking ground. In the Bay Area, it might be like Oakland may be burning to the fucking ground. Berkeley may be burning to the fucking ground. But where I'm living, it's not burning to the fucking ground.
It's like you're a whole body in California, and your body has cancer, and it's not reversible. So that's literally what it is.
I would say LA is close to not being reversible. San Francisco is. It's been getting close to stage 4, but the rest of California is not like San Francisco. What are you motherfuckers
this denial?
I mean, look,
California has brain, bone, lung, and heart cancer. Leave.
It's like, look, you're not wrong by what you're saying, but it's really LA and San Francisco that ruins the entire state. But the problem is that they're just too big for the state to overcome. So as long as that
here, I'm going to point this out. I'm going to make a counter argument to this in regards to San Francisco. What's going to bring San Francisco out of the fuckery in which they kind of did in the case of the DA are the Asians. The Asians are going to be the ones to do it because they don't like getting their asses whooped in the streets every day. They're tired of it, and that's why the DA got. That's why the DA got the boot. In LA, I don't know what it's going to take for the freaking DA to get the boot. I don't know what it's going to take for them to get a better mayor. I don't know what it is it's going to take for LA, but for San Francisco,
I mean, as we've proven, they're trying to vote a fake Democrat posing as a Republican because that's how demented they are. They have to be like, hey, Republicans are pretty much figured out the only way they're going to win is that they run as Democrats in California. That's how bad it is.
I said earlier, the California GOP has been weak for a long ass time. When Brian was alive, he was actually part of the California GOP. He met Arnold Schwarzenegger as well. So he knows how fucked up the California GOP was. And he even said that if would have been still alive, he would have done the same. He would have done the same thing that the guy in LA is doing. Is he would have ran as a Democrat because he knows that's how dumb people in Cali are, because they won't vote just for a Republican. They have to be sneaky. Yeah. You have to be sneaky with these things.
I do have a quick little breaking news here before I let you go. Whitmore has won in Michigan, so apparently people love the boot on their neck in the state of Michigan. So
people love the boot on their neck in Minnesota as well.
Oh yeah, or the fire at the Target as well. So
Well, in the case of Sacramento, where I live, my DA doesn't tolerate that fuckery, so we haven't had the Antifa issue here. Even though Sacramento Antifa exists, we don't have LARPers causing a lot of shit here like they do everywhere else. That's one thing I will say. That's why I keep stressing, watch out what's happening with these district attorneys. They are the ones that are causing a lot of this fuckery. Not the mayors to an extent are, but the DAs are the ones that are going to be the one pressing charges and keeping these people in jail.
Yep.
So
and then follow Nerdigans on YouTube as she soaks away in total denial about the fact that her state is absolutely falling apart, and this is someone who born and raised in San Diego. So, and then I also want to
in the Bay Area. I lived in San Francisco, and the whole reason I moved to the burbs was because the Walgreens by where I was living in the Richmond district got robbed. So yeah, I know about the fuckery. I was born and raised up there, so I know. Not
so great. And now, last but certainly not least, the guy who now has to deal with the losing Stacey Abrams, who spent $105 million and had all of Hollywood come out to Georgia for her election campaign, only to fail miserably. Miss Stacey Abrams in the state of Georgia. TW, how you doing? Where can they find more of you? What do you got coming up?
You can find me on YouTube, man. Straight up, you can find me on YouTube, Odyssey. You know, I talk about video games, music, like all that type of stuff. I even just had a recent video doing a Smash or Pass, a new series on the channel, but with this time WWE Divas. I might do a part 2 to that at some point. Might do a Smash or Pass on like other, other types of females and shit like that. But yeah, and then, I'm not doing shit tomorrow because I don't do videos on Wednesdays, but Thursdays will be week 6 of cringe music videos, reacting to cringe music videos and shit like that. So yeah, basically that. I also have my other social medias that will be on my channel. You can follow those, my Discord, Twitter. Just DM me on there. Trust me, I'll answer. I mean, I'll answer even if I'll usually answer them. I'm not really that hard of a guy to really approach. Just don't be an asshole, or I'll send you the link to my outro. It's literally just gonna be simple as that. That's gonna be the only response that you will get from me. If you're gonna be an ass, you're gonna get the link to my literal outro and nothing more.
Waiting for some pink hairs to get really upset by your Smash or Pass videos.
I'm almost sure of it. I haven't gotten any crazy comments yet, but I'm almost sure of it.
I'm excited.
Give it time. Britt Baker or Mia Yim or one of these fucking wrestling hoes will be out there slamming you later. It's like, wait, we don't need content like this on YouTube. It's all about the work. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I already know that's gonna be coming up soon. But outside, and shit, I got a podcast channel. I got a podcast, a month in review. That me and my dog Courtney, who helped make the intro, at least the music for the intro. We're gonna be filming episodes for that. If not this weekend, next weekend. And I'll also be doing a gaming channel. Separate for video games, so the rest of my content doesn't overshadow that shit. I don't know exactly which game I'll start off playing first for that channel, but it'll be called Booty Hunter Plays. So yeah. So check that out. Anyone in the panel, anyone in the chat, anyone who's been watching, check out the channel, bro, and become a part of the Booty Hunter family. Help us get to that promised land of 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, sir.
Yee. All right, then let's wrap things up with me. So tomorrow here on this channel, we're going to be on the Twitch channel and on Twitter. We're going to be doing retro rave reviews, and we're going to be talking about the forgotten, maybe suppressed, buried Disney Channel show, The Jersey. Not a lot of people remember it because Disney hasn't shown a single episode of this since 2004, and it is still not up on Disney Plus to this day. So we'll be doing it. We'll be talking about the show The Jersey tomorrow on Twitch and on Twitter. So it'll be very informative for you guys who haven't watched it before. Definitely check that out tomorrow. This Saturday night is a UFC night, so guess what, guys? We're doing beer night again. I'm not showing you what I'm drinking until they pay me, but yeah, we're gonna be doing a beer night on Saturday night, watching the fights. The main card starts at 10 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday night, so I should have some guys on here back for the UFC. It should be a good card. Cassie's favorite fighter in the world, Israel Adesanya, is fighting again, and he's fighting Alex Pereira for the middleweight title. And then what else we have? We have Carla Esparza and Weili Zhang for the strawweight title for the women's side. And then we have Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, which is also on this week. So good fights coming up this week. And then next Monday, myself, Rick Aragon, and Rob Motto will all be reviewing the film Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2. And just by the look of Rob's face, you can see exactly how happy he is that he has to sit in the theater for 3 hours to watch this film. So
Look at
that face. That's just pure joy. Can't you see it?
Oh yeah, totally.
He looks like that every day. What's the
So yeah, outside of that, then of course next week we'll be back here, more of a normal schedule. Hopefully all the votes will be counted by the time we come back next week. Hopefully it doesn't take a week to figure out who won these fucking elections. But you know, until then, subscribe here on the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Find us on Twitch. I got the links in the description. Find us on Twitter. All the stuff. We got a lot of good stuff coming up here in the next week. So until then, for everyone who joined us in the chat, and there was a lot of people. Josh, Spencer, Alex, Neo, our good buddy Duke Nukem, who joined us in the chat tonight. I know there's a couple other people. Joey was here a little bit earlier in the night. If I forgot your name or if I forgot to mention you, I'm going to shout you out on another day. But until then, stay safe, go home. Make sure they don't fuck you over with these elections because some shady shit's about to start going down here in the next few hours. And until then, we will see you guys. Hopefully we'll see you on Twitch tomorrow. If not, we'll see you next week on the show. Get out of here. It's over. Go away.